Distance for your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
We do headlines at just coming up to 10 a.m. I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. Thomas Tuchel says it's natural to rely on big players like Harry Kane. He missed England's defeat to Japan as Foden and Palmer failed to impress.
You expect assists, you expect goals, you expect shots, you expect dribblings, you expect dropping a shoulder. This is what you expect when you play on the 10. You want the real 10.
Tuchel's got some big calls to make. talkSPORT's live football anchor is Adrian Durham.
Phil Foden, he's going to be 30 at the next World Cup, and I don't think he's going to be going to this one. So
wow.
I think his peak years, we won't be seeing him at a World Cup, which I think is such a shame.
Following that false nine experiment, England seem no closer to finding an alternative to Kane. Henry Winter says there's a problem in the academies.
There are a lot of ballers, there are a lot of 10s, there are a lot of wide attackers, and I know it's because teams play more just with one up front in a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, but actually we're just not developing the Kanes of the future.
Now, Roberto Zerbi hasn't been at Spurs for 24 hours. He's already got an injury to Pap Sarr to contend with. But Adam Lallana, who played under Zerbi at Brighton, had no doubt he'll keep Spurs up.
And I'm actually slightly jealous. I was speaking to a player at Spurs who was picking my brains about him, and I just know how they're going to be in for a roller coaster, but a great one.
And as Tiger Woods takes a break from the course to recover, talkSPORT's Rupert Bell says Woods now realises his golf game is deserting him.
Stepping back from sort of being in the sort of front line of will he be playing in the Masters, his administrative role, the questions of being Ryder Cup captain next year, well, that has to go all on hold so he can sort himself out.
Woods has pleaded not guilty to driving under the influence following Friday's car crash. There's more on all this at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
The Prime Minister's given an update on the cost of living amid the Middle East conflict, and the BBC yet again is coming under scrutiny. Emma has more in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. You can't trust the weather right now, but you can always trust Pirelli tyres. In stock now at your local centre. Visit quickfit.com and book today.
Cloudier than yesterday, wind and rain across northwest Scotland, moving southeastwards. Northern England and Wales should see that rain by this evening.
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy, and we are live on talkSPORT. So England are beaten by Japan in the final edition for the World Cup playing. Where are the remaining question marks for Tuchel's final squad? Meanwhile, Tottenham appoint Zerbi on a 5-year deal. Will it prove to be a match made in heaven or hell? Also today, why is it no longer Forza Italia? Has O'Neill's job share created an integrity issue for the EFL? Is Daniel Levy suing Joe Lewis? Will FIFA shut down Iranian protests on US soil? And has Cucurella disrespected the Chelsea ownership? Or is he speaking the truth? Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy, and we are live on talkSPORT.
100% engagement.
Jim White and Simon Jordan on talkSPORT.
Wednesday. I like a Wednesday because Wednesday means Danny Murphy is in studio. And I like you a lot. Good morning, Danny.
Good morning.
Good morning. Now, Danny, we have had a fellow who's had a bad back all week. How are you?
Crap.
Why? Are you any better? While I was introducing the show to the many listeners all around the UK and beyond, I saw you fiddling about, messing about with the handbrake on your seat. Now, what's going on with it?
Too low.
It's too low.
Too low.
Okay. Maybe someone in the next break could come up and jack up Simon's seat. We'll see if we can do that.
Do have a good jacking up.
We all could.
Yeah.
Are you on the mend? This is what I'm
So it was pair of us sitting there going with me with my bad back, him with his bad hip.
You and Piers Morgan were out dining.
It was like an old man's convention discussing mortality and who was going to die, and ultimately how our back and legs were.
Dear me.
There you go.
And how was Piers?
Well, good, doing very well.
Good. Where were you? Just at McDonald's, just round by the...
No, nice little Italian restaurant.
Lovely. Italy.
So you actually get on?
We do now, actually.
There were occasions I've been on the show where
we didn't so much, yes.
All right,
He's seen the error of his ways, I think.
Best pals now. See, this is what happens, isn't it? You fall out, you fall back in. An Italian restaurant, Italy, not going to the World Cup finals yet again. Chisora, former Fiorentina, Rangers, Blackburn Rovers defender Lorenzo Amoruso gives us his take on that, and he's fairly scathing about the Italian Federation. Danny, England in the final.
Nothing to do with the players, by the way, of course.
Yes, of course.
The Italian Federation.
In the final, well, he has to go at the players as well, though, Simon.
Good.
He doesn't hold back. In the final World Cup edition, for players to stake their claim, England are beaten by Japan. As a Scot, I know what that feels like. Danny, I mean, I know this. It's a general one, but what's your view on where and who remain the big question marks for Tuchel's final 26 squad?
It was do you know what? In a way, I think it might be a bit of a blessing. Give everyone a kick up the backside, dampen down the hype around how wonderful everyone thinks England are. I suppose the main dilemma from it is if Kane isn't fit for the World Cup, what do they do? That's the big question mark, isn't it? I think at the moment.
Yeah.
There's not many strikers playing well enough.
Do you think he knows? He already knows his squad now.
Yeah.
I mean, has anyone in these games that we've just seen, Uruguay and Japan, has anyone truly enhanced their case in this break?
I think Garner's done well. Maguire's done well. That's about it, really.
I mean,
that's about it.
It shows where England are at the moment, Simon.
It doesn't really. I mean, these friendlies. I mean, are Japan going to win the World Cup? No. Was he brought in to win friendlies?
Are England going to win the World Cup?
Well, we'll see. What might factor against England is climate and a whole raft of other things. But what I think you'll get with Thomas Tuchel.
Don't forget the weather.
Thomas Tuchel wasn't brought in to beat Japan in a friendly any more than Gareth Southgate was brought in to beat Iceland in a friendly before the European Championships last time round, which, by the way, England got to the final.
Come on. Yeah, a draw against Uruguay and a defeat to Japan. You expected better.
Yeah,
I know you did.
It's not ideal.
You must have done.
It's not ideal.
For the paying fans. Yes, of course. If I'm a paying fan and I'm going to watch those games, I wanted to see something that excited me. Thomas Tuchel is a tournament manager. We will see the difference. Why Thomas Tuchel was brought in was in those moments in time where the opportunity existed for Gareth Southgate to take, and the decisions that he took at that time weren't the ones that changed the direction of travel for the game. The Italian champion.
And what do you base it? Thomas Tuchel's a tournament manager
because he's won tournaments.
What tournament? Well, internationally.
But he's a tournament manager. He wins tournaments. That's what he does. He's an elite manager. He wins trophies. He's won the Champions League. He's won various leagues in other divisions, so in other parts of the world. So he is a tournament manager that wins things.
I think the other thing is Rice, Bellingham, and who's the other one? Rice. Who else was missing? Kane.
Well,
Rice, Bellingham, and Kane are the three best players, and they weren't playing.
But does there remain a concerning lack of alternatives without Kane?
It does look that way.
He tried Foden last night. That hasn't worked.
That didn't work. No, not for sure. That didn't work.
Take the best players out of any international side to see how they go on.
I think Bellingham's the answer. He played up front as a false nine for Madrid in his first season. For half the season was incredible.
Yeah.
He's a match winner. He's a goal scorer. He's proven it time and time again with England, with Real Madrid. If he's fully fit and he's okay, he can play there.
All right, well, let's hear from... We'll carry on the chat about Kane in a second because I'm intrigued about something. Thomas Tuchel was asked if he was concerned by a lack of alternatives to Kane.
In the absence of Harry Kane, we don't have the same threat. Bayern Munich, in the absence of Harry Kane, has not the same threat. No team in the world has the same threat. It's just normal. If top teams rely on top players and top nations rely on top players, that's just absolutely normal. I mean, on top of it, Harry dropped out, so we lost not only him as a player, but we lost him as a personality. It's always a bit disrupting if the captain leaves the last training after 15 minutes and is out of the squad. We lost Bukayo Noni, we lost Declan Rice, we lost John Stones, who are normally the core and the drive of this group. And it affected us because this is normal. They are the players to carry the quality, carry the momentum on their shoulder, and of course it affected us. But this is just normal. It's a reality. We can win games without Harry. We will win without Harry when we have won without Harry. But it's easier to win matches with Harry, of course.
So Harry. Now, here's the thing, Danny. Of course, he is excelling in the colours of Bayern Munich. But enlighten me, when has Harry Kane last excelled in an England jersey? Why all in major tournaments? Why all the fuss?
It's a good point. I think probably because he's having the season of his life. He's playing with a confidence and a...
How many goals did he score in the Euros in 21?
Well, he won the Golden Boot in the World Cup, didn't he?
When did he last excel in an England jersey in a tournament?
Well, it depends on your interpretation of excel, because if you're winning goal-scoring awards at big tournaments, you could say that's excelling. But then people will say they played whoever and they had an easy game and he scored 3 penalties or whatever it is. I think there is a fair argument to be had if you change the wording to say he hasn't played to his full potential in an England shirt. And I think most people's memories are of the last tournament where he was poor.
Yeah. I mean,
as was the team.
As was
there was a lot of criticism about Harry Kane in an England jersey in Euro 2024.
He didn't look fit.
That's right. It looks as if he was carrying a fridge in his back.
He looks fit now.
But the fans were on his back. Yeah. Never mind anything else.
Yeah, what you're saying is he was criticised, and now he's being
being lauded and applauded from the rooftops.
But the fans were on everyone's back. The fans you had altercations with Jude Bellingham where he felt that everyone, including the media,
he was the best player,
victimising the players. Everyone was poor in that setup. The difference, hopefully, in this tournament, when it comes on top, when the moments matter, we're going to see or not see why Thomas Tuchel was hired. Thomas Tuchel was not hired to win friendlies. He was hired to go deep into a tournament and do better than what Gareth Southgate did. And the only time we're going to see that in the empirical data that suggests when big decisions were not made by Gareth Southgate against the French, against the Italians, in big games in the quarterfinals of the World Cup in 2022, and in the final against the Italians in 2021 when the game was going against us.
And the semis against Croatia.
And in his first incarnation in 2018, you will see Thomas Tuchel come to the fore in those moments. And that is the difference.
You're convinced of that?
That is what you're paying for. No, I'm convinced.
He will make the difference.
I'm convinced that he's a manager of that capability. Now, we will only see that being deployed when that moment comes. And that moment will be evident. It'll be when we play against a side that people don't think we can beat. And that's when you'll get your answer. And only then.
At the moment, it seems like a touch of deja vu, doesn't it? Perfect qualification, boring friendlies.
Yeah.
So does it feel any different from Southgate?
I think the biggest difference for me is that when I've seen England play, although against poor opposition for the majority of it, they are more front foot. They are more high energy with him. You're not going to get this pragmatist, boring, negative football that we saw in the last tournament. I believe that truly.
That's what people will appreciate.
I think if England fail, they'll go out on the shield on this.
I agree.
It's just that he's played 3 teams in the top ranked 20.
Yeah.
And not won one.
Being who? So being the
3-1 defeat to Senegal, 1-1 draw with 17th ranked Uruguay, and now defeat to 18th ranked Japan.
When we played Senegal in a competitive game, what happened? Not under his watch, but when we had Southgate in situ, when we played Senegalese in a competitive game, we beat them. When it comes to tournament football, when it really, really matters, rather than creating a conversation out of meaningless friendlies that are really about trying other players to see if they stake a claim. You name me, with a few exceptions and maybe the French of 98, you name me an international side that wasn't dependent upon a superstar footballer, that it wasn't dependent upon an individual. So we make it about Harry Kane because Harry Kane is scoring so many goals ad infinitum wherever he plays. He scores lots of goals. Even when he's crap, he scores goals for England. Right? So you name me an international team that's won a World Cup besides the French team probably of 98 that didn't have a superstar footballer in it that actually changed the direction of the game. So why would we be any different? Thomas Tuchel makes the exact point. Take Kane out, we're worse off. Take Lewandowski out of Poland, they were worse off. Take Messi out of Argentina, they were worse off. Take Maradona out of Argentina, they were worse off. Look at all the teams. Take Ronaldo out of Brazil, they were worse off.
Well, let's not shelter him from
Portugal.
criticism. if you're analysing what he's doing, I've just said the positive. I think he's going to go. I think he's going to play more. You can see that. But some of his decisions are a little bit baffling. You know, it's like last night, experiment, I get it. But Foden's never played as a false nine from City, really. You know, Gordon's been playing up front for Newcastle. But Morgan Rogers does not play on the right for Villa. Very, very rare. And he sticks him on the right. He does all his work either as a 10 on the left. Palmer's been playing on the right for Chelsea.
Right.
He can play as a 10, but it was a bit like...
Right.
You know, some of the decisions...
There must be some method to his madness.
He knows, I'm sure
Maybe
he
knows Gordon can play as a false nine. Maybe he's seeing a Foden can play there too, and working it out for himself.
That's what I'm saying.
Because he knows Pep's not going to do it, so he'll take a punt. He'll take a risk, and then he'll listen to the wrath of people saying, "What was that thinking
these
about?"
Are legitimate. These are legitimate questions where people will go, "Wonder what he's thinking there." That's not something I would do. Or why is he on that? Which is fine. You can have those conversations, but in terms of being extreme with the criticism, and go, now we're crap, and now we can't win it. It's a storm in a teacup losing.
See, all of a sudden we're back round to the Premier League, and the World Cup's in the back burner for now. Yeah. It's just around the corner. All of a sudden it'll be the Premier League, the Champions League, and it's just around the corner, the World Cup. So I'll put it to both of you. In terms of a sense check, what are expectations for the summer regarding England? What's acceptable?
Semi-final.
Semi-final.
Yeah. Because then you're just in the lap of the gods to a degree a little bit.
And to go out before a semi-final is unacceptable under Tuchel.
Yeah. Absolutely. We've got to be one of the best 4 teams with the players we've got.
Depends who we draw. If we're playing against a side, if we play the Spanish in the quarterfinals, or we play the French in the quarterfinals, who on paper are a better side than us at this moment in time and expected to either win this tournament or be close to winning alongside us. And it depends on the performances. That's true. I can accept if we go out and we have a real go, like we should have done against the French. We did for 30 minutes when we suddenly woke up when we played the French.
We shouldn't have lost that.
We should have never lost that game. Because the moment we decided to stop looking at them and start having a go at them, we took the game away from them. And then we didn't put
So now it's going to be different, is it?
I think Tuchel has the wherewithal and the balls to make changes in the middle of the game to affect outcomes. And I'm not sure that Gareth did.
Well, the other thing is if he doesn't, and they do go out with a whimper, and it's poor again.
He's got
this new contract.
He's got a new contract, yeah.
I mean, it's bizarre, really, when you think about it.
Danny, let's go into the break with that. I'm going to put it out there this morning. In terms of a sense check, where are your expectations regarding England for the World Cup finals in the US in the summer? What to you is acceptable? What is not acceptable under Thomas Tuchel? 03717 22 33 44 81089. We've just seen a draw against Uruguay and a defeat to Japan, but very shortly it all becomes very, very important.
Chisora is retiring after this weekend, so maybe Del Boy can come in and do a better job than all these other guys.
Maybe.
I've also spoken to him. He's going to come in and walk up and down Simon's back this morning to try and sort that out.
Jason Schiffman, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Simon. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. Well, I wish you back better anyway.
Thank you, mate.
My view is that I think that we need to bring a manager in that's going to sign a contract so the players believe that manager is going to be there next season. I don't think it's a great look when you sign these managers up and they're only signed temporarily, because then all of a sudden the players don't seem to have the same respect for that manager because they're thinking, well, he's not going to be here in a few weeks. Do I think that this guy can come in and do a job? I certainly hope so. I think the fans are behind the players at the moment. I think I saw an amazing atmosphere, even though we lost 3-0. And I just think this is still the team that got 4 points out of City this season. So there are players in that squad that are capable of winning games, but we do need a manager that's capable of getting the best out of them.
Yeah, I mean, you're on your final chance, are you not, Jason? It's critical now.
Listen, it's almost not in our hands, because if West Ham get that win, then all of a sudden we're in this position where we're looking.
Jason, just
around us.
Just a quick one here. So there's an element of concern about De Zerbi. Do you share that concern? And who would you go for in this situation? Everyone's talking about maybe Glenn Hoddle or Tim Sherwood.
The reason a lot of fans that call up this show get the hump when they hear about Thomas Frank.
Many England fans calling in. That's what we're like. Where are you going into these World Cup finals in the USA? Losing to Japan last night. Before that, a draw with Uruguay. Where are you under Thomas Tuchel? And of course, so many players pulling out, withdrawing for the squad. We'll get to that with Simon and Danny in a second. But my question going into the break was simple. In terms of a sense check, where are your expectations for the summer regarding England? 03717 223344. Spencer, good morning. First up, where are your expectations, my friend?
Morning, boys.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, well, morning, Danny. I'd just like to say, Danny, I'd love to listen to your match of the day, and I love your opinions, mate.
Thank you. That's very kind. Appreciate it.
I'd just like to say, I think England now have got the manager that's going to take us over the line.
Wow. And win the thing in the US. Okay, based on what, Spencer?
I think they're going to win it. I think England have been so close over the last few years with Southgate, and I don't think Southgate he's not a finisher. He can't finish that game for us when we need it.
Right.
And I think Tuchel has got the arms, the armoury to send us over the line.
And you've got the players, have you? You've got the players to win this World Cup?
They're some of the best players in the world. They're all, we got 4 or 5 world-class players in that England side. And that's what you need.
Is that right, Danny, do you think? Is Spencer right?
Well, we've got one of the best centre forwards in the world. We've got one of the best attacking midfielders in the world. Best central midfield. Yeah, he's probably 3, maybe 4, 3.
Okay.
I'd say 3 world-class.
Chris, a big West Ham fan, no doubt England fan as well. Chris, do you agree with Spencer that with Tuchel, you're going to go there and win this?
Good morning, gentlemen, first of all.
Morning, Chris.
I'm registered blind, so I rely on talkSPORT 100%. On hearing the performance in the last 2 friendlies, I don't think we'll win it for simple facts, even though I'm an England fanatics. The simple fact is all our key players, like midfielder, quite a few people, Palmer, Boland, even Harry Kane. I know he's super forward, but he's never done it for England and on a big stage. I'm concerned about they're all up below par for the club level. Now they're going to go into England in the summer, not playing their best football for the club level. So this is where I'm very, very concerned. It has to be a big turnaround to make it really a force. And I agree. Last 8 is the best we could do.
Last
Unless
8.
we really turn it on. Turn it on.
All right, Chris. Are they below par? Quite a number of them at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, if you look at the players that would probably start, Saka's a bit below his levels, that's for sure. Rashford isn't playing enough because I think Gordon isn't scoring enough, so that either one of them will play on the left.
Yeah.
Bellingham might be a blessing because he's hardly played in the last couple of months, so he's going to be fresh. He needs some game time before the end of the season and get himself up to speed. But Bellingham could be a blessing. But Rice, Elliot Anderson and Kane are flying. So, yeah, I mean, the support act, if you like, Foden, Palmer, not at the best. Rodgers has dropped a little bit, but he was allowed because his form was ridiculously good. I wouldn't hide behind that. I wouldn't worry about that too much.
All right. Okay. Jay, Chelsea fan. Yeah, you're through to us. Now, you probably heard Spencer say you're going to go there and win it. Where are you at with Tuchel's England? Hello, Jay. Good morning.
I'm not convinced we're going to. Hello. Good morning. Yeah, I'm not convinced we're going to go that far, and that's not a criticism. I still feel we're in a transition period with Thomas Tuchel at the moment, and he's trying to find his club England. I was a bit concerned about whether he could actually do it at the international level. I still think he needs some time to build his club England, and this is why he's testing all these players out in friendlies. But I can't see us going far. I still feel like he hasn't cemented his squad yet.
What do you mean his club England?
Well, I feel like that's for me, one positive of Gareth Southgate is that he had his squad. Forget game plans, but he had his squad that he wanted for each tournament, and it was almost set. It almost wrote itself. I don't feel like Thomas Tuchel's kind of got that yet.
Okay, Jay is just breaking up. I mean, it's a mixed bag, Simon, at the moment, isn't it?
Well, not going to know till we get to tournament, are we? We know we went into the last tournament in the Euros. We lost to Iceland 1-0 before we went in there. We went into the previous tournament. We got smashed by Hungary 4-0. People were off the reservation. In both those tournaments, we did relatively well. Obviously, we got knocked out by the French in the quarters in the World Cup, which we all felt that we could have won that game, and that's where the Tuchel effect might come into play. We were dreadful in the Euros, but got to a final. You know, we have to factor in all the circumstances about who we draw, will the weather, because people are really talking about the climate. But it's going to affect the other European sides as well. So we can't just give ourselves that little bit of extra dispensation for not achieving things. I'm just comfortable that Tuchel will give us a better opportunity. Whether we're good enough, different matter.
Yeah.
I think he'll be good enough. Whether the players are good enough to overcome the opposition, time will tell. But I think he as a coach, put him up against the other coaches at international level, I think he's as good, if not better, than 90% of the coaches he'll be competing against.
The other thing, Jim, as well, is that we try and look at what's going to happen and look at the squads and the teams, and we can't really make an informed judgment till we know who's fit and who's not. Because at the end of the season, I mean, my only call-up to a World Cup squad was because of really good players being injured, and England failed in that one. But if Kane and Rice, for example, were to get injured in the last couple of weeks of the season and couldn't go, I think it would be fair to say we're not going to win it. So we're trying to think.
Right.
So the conversation really is, if all our players are fit and ready to go, have we got a good chance? Of course we have. We've got a hell of a good squad.
Yeah.
But the tournament football, little things might go against us. Tuchel is a more progressive man. I think he's braver. I think he'll give them the freedom to play and go and win games. And that gives us, I think, a hell of a chance.
Certainly on withdrawals, he lost a number of players, certainly for the game against Japan last night. We're going to touch on that. And every time Ben White's name is announced, there's a chorus of boos. How long is the jingoistic booing of White going to continue? Is it going to indeed be a feature at the World Cup? We'll get into that the other side of 10:30. We're live in talkSPORT with Selco, where the trade goes. Back on Thursday, Simon and Willie exchanged a fair bit of banter in the boxing hour on that day going into the fight.
I said, I think you're going to get beat, is what I said, Willie.
Is that what you said?
I did, yeah. I did. I'm happy to eat crow.
Simon, have you ever boxed a day in your life?
No, I haven't, no.
You should have no comment on boxing whatsoever. You should leave it to the boxers.
We will see.
Because you've never had a fight in your life.
We will see. And when you have an opinion on something in life that you've never done, we can have a conversation about that as well.
The only thing you can box, Simon, listen to me. The only thing you can box is box in Tesco's shopping centre. Well, that's what you can box.
Willie, if you lose that fight, you'll probably be working in there.
You shouldn't give any... Hey, but I've got plenty.
Good.
I don't need to
well,
go
let's
anywhere.
see you win.
I don't do this for the money. I do it for peace.
Good, fantastic, good. So when we see on Monday, if you've won, you'll be able to say all this. But don't lose, Willie, now. Don't lose. Whatever you do, don't lose.
But Simon, if you've never boxed a day in your life, and you've never felt a punch in your face, you should have no comment to boxing.
I'm not allowed
ever
an opinion.
In your life.
I'm not allowed an opinion.
Forget about this.
I'm not
You're
allowed
not
an opinion.
Allowed an opinion because you've never boxed.
Okay.
You don't know.
All right. Well, hopefully my opinion will mean
you
nothing.
Keep to the
Willie,
football.
But if I'm wrong, if I'm right, Willie, you are going to eat some crow, buddy.
Well, he didn't need to eat anything because the scores were wide, 99, 91, 98, 92, 98, 92. So, Willie, you got out of that shift at Tesco on Sunday. Well done. Good morning.
Definitely. I got out of it nice and clear. Thank God.
Thomas Tuchel says it's normal to rely on big players like Harry Kane. He was rested as England lost to Japan, with Foden, Rodgers and Palmer all starting. Tuchel admits England were too narrow.
We tried later with Dom Solanke in there, and then we had Harry Maguire and Dan Burn for the set pieces, for the crosses, for more crosses. We had more width and more mobility on the side. We got a bit better.
Tuchel's now overseen England's first defeats to Asian and African opposition. Now, Andy Robertson's not sure why some fans booed Scotland again last night after their 1-0 friendly defeat to the Ivory Coast. Robertson says for him, it wasn't a booing performance. Roberto De Zerbi starts life at Spurs with some bad news. Pape Sarr's joined their long injury list. But here's some optimism for the relegation scrap. Adam Lallana calls De Zerbi one of the most inspirational people there is.
After 5 minutes of him speaking in our first meeting when he joined Brighton, I was on board. I was following him, and I have no doubt that he'll be able to emulate that at Spurs.
And Tiger Woods is stepping away from golf to recover. He's pleaded not guilty to driving under the influence after Friday's car crash in Florida. There's more at talkSPORT.com.
Of April. No fools in here, though. I can assure you of that. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy, and we are live on talkSPORT this Wednesday morning. Tottenham appoint Roberto De Zerbi as their new head coach. It's a 5-year deal, Simon. What are they going to get in Roberto De Zerbi? We're going to get to that very shortly. We're coming to the end. We're at the end of this international break. Thank goodness, many people would say. Certainly, what did we learn about Tuchel's England? I'm not sure. A draw against Uruguay, a defeat to Japan. But what we do know is a lot of fans still not having Ben White in the squad, never mind in the team. Whenever Ben White's name is announced, we hear the boos. Simon, Danny, I don't know where we're going with this. The other side of the break, I asked how long is the jingoistic booing of White going to continue? Will it be a feature at the World Cup, Simon? Is it not time for many fans to approach it along the lines of let bygones be bygones?
It could make that argument. They're entitled to air their views. I don't particularly like it. I don't think it's particularly productive to boo somebody. But if they feel very passionate, I mean, jingoism it relates to some certain people's perspective of nationalism. Having pride in your country doesn't necessarily mean you're jingoistic, and asking others to have the same sort of attitude doesn't necessarily signal just jingoism. They have a view about his actions and his attitude, and unless he wants to clear it up and indulge people, which I'm not always sure is the right way to go, but he's playing for his country. He walked out of a camp for reasons that no one really knows, but are being rehearsed in people's perspectives.
4 years ago.
He's been called up a couple of times, didn't want to play then either, and now he's decided that the time is right for him. And people are going to look at that and go, well, we expect people that play for their country to want to die playing for their country, metaphorically, not literally. And so with somebody that appears from the outside to be a little bit fair weather, you know, it doesn't reflect the values that they want to see from their national side. And the national side is supposed to be something that they'll be proud of and that they represents them, because that's why people go to football. They live vicariously through it, don't they? They come out of their grey lives to watch football, to be inspired by it.
Well, putting it another way, Danny, can Ben White do a really good job for England?
He's a good player. He is a good player. I mean, he had a great spell at Arsenal for a period of 2 years, and then he's fallen. Timber's overtaken him because Timber's better than him. And Arsenal have upgraded, so he's a squad player at Arsenal. Have we got better than him? Yes. Will he go to the tournament? Probably not, especially if Reece James and Livramento stay fit. He's also picked Jed Spence ahead of him. Let's not forget, he was pulled in after somebody dropped out. I think it was Kwanzaa from Leverkusen, an ex-Liverpool lad. In a 35-man squad, he didn't get in it. He's been pulled in to fill a hole, fill a gap. It was. I don't think he's
going to started though, isn't he?
Did you say you don't think he's going to go?
I don't think he'll go, no.
So why is Tuchel engaging in
I think he wanted to look at him, probably. Maybe just someone I haven't seen up close and in the flesh. He's had a look at him. He's had a good relationship with Saka in the past. He knows Saka's going to be his man on the right, so he's probably thinking somebody who knows Saka, played with him before. There's some logic around it. There is an argument also, if you look at it from a different perspective, to say, why give yourself that heat?
Exactly.
But Tuchel's not like that. He's strong. He don't care about the noise. He's not that type of guy. You can see that in him, which is fair enough, and I like that in a manager. But
yeah,
I'm not sure he's good enough for the height, like for the heat that came with it. If I was Tuchel, I wouldn't have bothered with it.
Really?
I'd have left it alone.
And you don't think he'll go to the finals?
No. If Reece James fit and Livramento's fit, those two definitely go. He's a big fan of Jed Spence because he plays both sides.
Yeah.
He likes Kwanzaa because Kwanzaa can play centre half and right back. Kwanzaa as well can play right back. I'd be amazed if he was in the squad.
Talking about being fit, before this match with Japan, Tuchel was asked about Arsenal's 10 international withdrawals, including Rice and Saka. He admitted he understood the look of it, unquote, but defended his England duo over their injury issues, revealing Rice has been playing, quotes, at 70% for some time because of his continued discomfort. Tuchel says everyone can do the math, and it's a lot of players, of course, and during this situation, it looks a bit suspicious. He says, I understand the look of it. I still have 100% trust in the honesty of Saka and Declan. We did medical tests. I saw them. I've no reason to believe that Declan is not honest with me. I've no reason to believe Bukayo is not honest. Asked specifically which injury Rice was nursing, Tuchel said, I'm not sure if I want to give it away. I think Arsenal wouldn't be happy if I gave it away. But he feels a discomfort for a while. He's playing through it. Tuchel said it was up to Arsenal, Danny, to decide for themselves how much risk they're taking by playing Rice. And he added, I'm not willing to take this risk for my key player. I mean, at the business end of the season, and this is where we're at, do these situations call for a common sense approach from international managers like Tuchel?
Yeah, common sense sounds, I think it makes absolute sense that if he's got one of his best players saying they're not quite fully fit, go and rest up, go back to your club. I think that's he's looking after himself, he's looking after his squad, he's doing the right thing by the player. I find it strange that he's talking about percentage. You know, Rice has been playing 70%. I mean, I've watched Declan for the last month. He's no way 70%. He is all out.
He's all out, isn't he?
Phenomenal athlete.
Yeah.
He's a good footballer. Gives everything. He doesn't look 70% to me. It's a bit of a throwaway card. I'm not so sure about how that benefits anyone. It just creates unnecessary speculation around, you know, why is Arteta playing him at 70%? Why this? Why that? Rice is fit.
Yeah.
He's one of the fit.
He's fit.
He looks fit to me.
Yeah.
And if you watch the Leverkusen game in the Champions League, he was every blade of grass.
So if he's fit for Arsenal, why is he not playing for England last night?
Let's cut through the nonsense. What he's done, and what all players do, because they've got some massive games coming up. He wants to win the league. He wants to win the Champions League. He knows he's going to play for England. Irrelevant at this friendly, whether he plays or not. The players have said to Tuchel and the medical staff at England, I'm a bit sore, I'm struggling a little bit. And he's got to believe them, but they're fine. That's what you do. If your manager at a big club, when you're going for trophies, says to you, don't play in those friendlies, you have to go. You go and
I don't understand the big deal about it.
It's not, but what
There's
I'm
no
saying...
big deal. I mean, Rice is going to be in the England side. He knows what Rice is. He knows what Rice can do. Is it really that important just because it might play well for the media and for some fans inside the stadium?
Fans, the media.
Yeah, I know, but
it's nothing to do with the media.
Fans will look at it in a broader sense, right? And they'll react to what they see in front of the game, and they'll react to the circumstances, and they'll forget about it in 3 weeks' time and worry about the World Cup.
But it's a logical question, Simon.
No, it's not.
If he's doing it week in, week out for Arsenal, which he is, Danny, and you say he's 100% fit, or if he's not 100% fit, he's near as damn it. Why didn't we see him last night?
Because
we're getting very close to the final.
Well, because common sense prevails. And,
why do we need to see him?
We don't. But what he's asking is that the reason you don't is because the player. Look, whatever you say and however it comes across, 10 Arsenal players withdrawing is not coincidence.
Well, across a variety of different nations.
Yeah, but that's because Arteta and the lads have had a chat.
Exactly.
And gone, listen.
Yeah.
Let's come together here.
Is there anything wrong with that?
No, because it's happened through decades. It's just this one is a large number, so it's become really obvious. But all the top managers used to do it. You'd speak to the
established player for England. You establish yourself. He's not going to get picked to play for the World Cup because he plays well against Japan in a friendly that no one really cares about, and only is an exercise in perhaps the real exercise of friendlies. Surely must be for Tuchel to experiment to see if he's got more length and breadth in his squad than he thinks his starting 11 or 15 is going to have.
That suggests if you're a big player, you only turn up for the big tournaments.
No, not necessarily. But
you don't need to bother with the international break.
Well, if you to be fair,
you don't need to bother with that.
But the international breaks are made up of competitive games. These aren't competitive games; these are friendlies.
Rice barely misses.
If you want to run that argument for them when they're playing in World Cup qualifiers in international breaks, then you can run that argument. But you're running it in conjunction with friendlies.
So these games are meaningless then.
Yeah.
Uruguay meaningless.
Absolutely
meaningless. Japan last night meaningless.
They're two games that give some players an opportunity to go to Tuchel.
Give himself an opportunity.
Do you know what? I've seen him in training. This could be
right. But you don't think any one of those players has really grabbed the nettle and taken that opportunity to say to Tuchel, well, you cannot overlook me.
Garner has.
I
think in the first game he showed a little bit of up. Give me the ball, I'll get on it, and then winning it back and playing.
So he's sorted. He's in the final squad.
I think he's got a much better chance because he went to that squad.
Yeah.
And put in a decent performance. I think Maguire's done himself no harm. So for those type of players, it helps. But for the more established ones, it's a waste of time. And look, very few players at this stage of the season at the big clubs who've played so many games already are 100%. They've all got niggles. They've all got knocks. They're all a bit fatigued. But all you do is you go away to England. You have to tick the box to go. You go and train for a bit, or you go with the medical staff. You exaggerate your tiredness, your injury, and you pop off home.
It's interesting, isn't it? Which argument do you want to run? Players are tired. English football plays them too much. All the other countries give them rests and breaks and opportunities. They have a rest, and now that's controversial. Which do you want?
It's certainly controversial when you realise that Arsenal had 10 international withdrawals, including Rice and Saka. 10. Even Tuchel is using the word suspicious.
Well, yeah, he's using. I mean, ultimately, if we want to analyse every single word uttered from a German speaker not in his native language,
lost in translation,
and look at it through the reality of trying to be critical. I'm in the camp of suggesting that what the argument would be running when England are tired in the World Cup. People like yourself will be sat there going, they're tired because they play too much football. Now, when they don't play too much football and they're given a respite, that's a problem too. What difference does it make? It's a bleeding friendly.
It's the solution in international breaks. Friendlies, don't play your key players.
I think we're on the eve of a tournament.
Just play the kids.
Well, it depends what the international break is for, Jim. We just qualified that, didn't we? If it's an international break for nothing, you're not going to win the World Cup by beating Japan. or beating Uruguay. Right? You are going to win the World Cup by winning qualifying games in international breaks.
Of course, that's what those games are designed to do. So when you look at these things, these I always thought friendlies were just an exercise in bringing people together, getting people to look at one another, and getting some of the peripheral players to have an opportunity. It used to be England B, didn't it, back in the day?
I think it just completely depends on where the team and squad is at. Tuchel more or less knows his best 11, maybe one or two positions.
Now he wants to build a squad.
So we're in a decent position in that respect. So if you're a manager who's going into a country where the team's all over the place, you're not sure who you're going to pick, and you're trying to find your best team for the World Cup, you want to play them in those friendlies because you want them to build some relationships.
Yeah,
it depends what country you are. The reality is, at this stage of the season, the bigger, better players, Kane's, the Rice's, Belling a bit different, he's coming back from injury, but they've got bigger fish to fry than worrying about Japan. And Tuchel knows he needs them. So I don't think Tuchel's that bothered they didn't play. The other reality is that a lot of those players saying, I've got a niggle, I've got a knock, they're fine. They're just getting out and giving the medical team enough information to stop them playing.
Yeah.
In conjunction with their club managers asking them to do so.
It's a bit of a con, doesn't it?
It does a little bit.
Sell-out crowds pitch up to watch a meaningless match.
Well, that's how they should advertise.
There's your headline.
They should advertise it. They should promote it. What they should be saying is friendlies are predominantly to make sure that all the best players that might make the squad get opportunities to impress. And then the fans can take their view. You'll still get a sellout. You'll still get full stadiums. And then we won't be able to run that.
This was billed as the send-off series. Uruguay and Japan. Wave the boys off to the US of A. So I suppose it could be worse. You could be Italian. We'll look at that next. Thomas Tuchel has a whole lot fewer Arsenal players than he might have imagined in the coming days, because 10 Arsenal players have now withdrawn not just from England duty but from international duty. Eze, Gabriel, Hincapié, Madueke, Rice, Saka, Saliba, Timber, Trossard, Zubimendi. 4 Arsenal players had originally pulled out of international duty at the start of last week, a day after the Carabao Cup final, a match that they lost to Manchester City. They were Gabriel with a knee injury, Saliba recurring pain in his left ankle, Trossard a hip injury, and Eze a calf problem. Now Zubimendi and Hincapié are the latest to withdraw. In fact, both Saka and Rice joined the England camp on Friday, but didn't feature in the draw with Uruguay on the same day, and now they've withdrawn. Sir Alex Ferguson used to remove players from international duty. In 2011, he described friendlies as a waste of time. Arsenal invincible Martin Keown is in our midst. Martin, are Arsenal being hit with a disastrous injury crisis, or is Arteta doing a Fergie?
Well, there's a lot of players that are injured going into this international. I hope that you're not making it as an inference that Arsenal are deliberately taking players out, because I think they're
Just a reminder, every game of the World Cup, all 104 matches, will be live this summer on the talkSPORT network. The latest episode of the talkSPORT Daily Podcast is out now, featuring an England debrief with Stuart Pearce and his favoured starting 11 for the tournament. That is worth a listen, is it not? It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy. We're live on talkSPORT. Here's the thing. Last night, we learnt that one of, in recent years, of course, regarded as a big, big nation when it comes to the World Cup, Italy, they'll miss out again. Italy will miss a third consecutive World Cup finals after a 4-1 penalty shootout defeat in their playoff with Bosnia-Herzegovina. Gennaro Gattuso's team became the first former champions in World Cup history to miss 3 consecutive tournaments. So, this is nothing short of a disaster in terms of Italian football. This morning, just before we came on air, and Rangers fans up north will remember this fella, former Fiorentina, Rangers, Blackburn Rovers and Italy defender Lorenzo Amoruso spoke to me, and he gave me his reaction to last night's events.
Really, really disappointing. I still think that although I think Rino has been working well, but normally you don't expect from players with so much experience to make these unbelievable mistakes. It's a game that you should just keep under control, and instead you gave them this unbelievable opportunity. We had chances for sure, because we had chances, but of course it's a big mistake thinking that Bosnia would have been an easy game. I was expecting more from players. I was expecting to do their job 100% without giving them any small chances, because on the paper we were definitely the best team. But of course, as we know, football is a strange sport, and you need to show how to be the strongest team, the strongest side.
Lorenzo, it's painful for you, but Italy miss a third consecutive World Cup finals. Why are Italy falling short?
Well, there is no just one reason, James. I think there are a few reasons there. One of those is the fact that we are not taking care about the youth. It seems to be always the same thing that has been said a few years ago back, the same thing after the 2 previous not qualification, but nothing's still been done for these problems. I still think that there are so many foreign players in Italy with not the quality that definitely will improve the Italian football. So still to work a lot. I still think that also the political side of the country has to start to do something, because how can it be possible that Italy has an unbelievable way to win in many other sports, and now the most popular sport in Italy are already 12 years that we cannot be really strong. I'm not saying the best, but at least strong like many other countries. That means that probably the federation are not been working in the right way. So new faces, new people will come in, because things need to be different for sure.
Does Gattuso stay in the job, Lorenzo?
Well, for what he's done, for the passion, I think he deserves it. But still, if you're telling me if the team and the national team is changed since the first elimination with Ventura, I think no, because the result is exactly the same. And what is all about in this game, is the result. I'm sorry for Rino, because I know the guy, I know him very well, I know the passion, I know he did everything. But in some ways, I think he's been betrayed as well. And that is something that he will never say that, of course. But watching what is the situation there, it's really bad. It's really bad, because the passion and the way he spoke before the game, previous many other times, he was looking for people with the passion, with people with heart there. And I don't know if everybody had it, to be fair, even last night, because it's nothing to do with the quality of the player. It has to do with the fact that wearing that shirt should be an honor. It should be something unique, instead of be one of the many others. It doesn't work in that way for me. And Rino knows it. He's been world champion with that shirt, so he knows what kind of weight, what kind of special way is to be part of that group. I don't think many players, they did realize that.
Wow. So that was Lorenzo Amoruso a short time ago. Simon, you could actually argue, to be fair, Italy, it's been tough on them. Their qualifying group was Group I. It was a 5-team group, Danny. They finished second. They won 6 from 8. Norway won it. But you'd think winning 6 from 8, you would go on and you would get to the finals. They ended up in a playoff situation. And they almost got there, but they didn't. I mean, it's catastrophic for the Italians, isn't it?
It is.
That it happens again and again.
Yeah, it is. And I actually think the World Cup's worse when they're not there. I think the Italian fans, generally, in my experience, of tournaments when they've been there, make it better. More colour, more flavour with the Italians. But their players aren't up to the level of it. They've got some decent, really good players, actually. Their forward line has been lacking for a long time.
Yeah.
Creativity, goals. They haven't really got that. And I just watched, I know you said you watched some of the game, but I just watched the penalty, the sending off.
Yeah.
1-0. The stats in the first half, they're completely controlling the game.
Right.
More experience, better players. And then someone goes and does that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like self-sabotage, isn't it? Bastoni's an experienced player, by the way, as well. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So you can look at academies or the FA or the way they're coaching and all that stuff. The reality is what you just said gives it nuance in that they're not that bad.
Well, yeah.
Because of the format, the way it's set up, the way the groups have set up, these playoffs that they want to create and all that, they've had to go through a process. And you know what it's like in any one game. You can mess it up, and they did.
Well, this is it. And Simon, talking about the format, you look at Sweden, their qualifying campaign, they won none in 6.
You're joking.
They finished bottom of the group, but they advanced to the playoffs because they did well in the Nations League.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
They go all the way through. They win their playoff final last night, and they're going to America.
Yeah, it's a strange one.
It is strange.
I mean, you look at the results and you try and find a way. Would you expect a major nation, irrespective of Erling Haaland, to get battered by Norway twice? Norway battered them 4-1 and 3-0. 4-1 in Italy and 3-0 in Oslo. And that's the kind of results that you wouldn't expect from an Italian side. Now, I realise it's a potential catastrophe for them not to be at 3 World Cups. We had 2 in 74 and 78 that England weren't at. But in the middle of that, they won the Euros in 2021, and they went on this remarkable run of form where they came into the tournament against England when I think it was Mancini in charge.
Yeah.
And they like 30-odd games, and people then questioned, of course, the opposition that they played. But they went on and won a tournament. So, with due respect to what we do, we qualify for tournaments and win nothing. Maybe we shouldn't qualify and just qualify every now and again and win one. I'm being a bit facetious, but you know what I'm being a bit facetious, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They should be getting through with the players they've got.
Yeah.
Although it's not the greatest Italian squad ever, they should be. They've got enough. But as you said, I mean, the Sweden thing's remarkable, isn't it?
Incredible, isn't it? In their qualifying campaign, they can lose the lot, but they're going to the USA. So are we.
The thing is, the new format. So I was just going to say, the new format where they've got all these different routes to be able to get to the big
Nations League.
Well, yeah, but the new routes and the new way they've done it allows minnows like Scotland to get to tournaments, doesn't it?
Oh, you held me back there to get that in, did you?
I'm joking.
Well done. 11 o'clock, a lot more to get through, not least Roberto De Zerbi. Yeah, he got the gig. We'll talk about that.
This is the fourth shortest reign of any Premier League manager. Just 5 days longer than Ange at Forest and 35 longer than 9-day Tudor Queen Lady Jane Grey. Oh no, you're taking a mickey now. And for a bit more context, it's thought that the average human would be able to walk from London to the heart of the Swiss Alps in such time as Tudor has been in charge. I want to know who worked that one out. We're going to take a call on somebody that's called 03717 223344. It's Eli. Eli, very good morning to you. Thanks for taking the time to call us this morning. Is this the right thing that's happened, Eli?
Yeah, good morning. Talking about Tottenham Hotspur now, my club that I've supported over maybe 50 odd years. Yeah. What I'm saying to you is, picking the manager, I'm not sure which type of manager you want for the next 7 games, but I don't think it would hurt for a massive football reset, a Tottenham Hotspur reset, to actually go down.
Oh, that's a heck of a statement to make, Eli, because I don't think there's any guarantees you can back up, mate. Are you saying you could go down, spend a couple of years down there, rebuild and come back up? Is that what you're saying?
Ali, yeah, good morning to you, sir. I support Hearts, my Scottish team as well, so good luck to them on Saturday. But yeah, back to Tottenham Hotspur. Yes, Ali, I feel we might not, with the squad we've got. We've only got 3 players there at our club at the moment who actually want to be there and want to fight, and what it actually means to be a Tottenham Hotspur FC player.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van range, helping business owners to work better and live better. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines at 11:02, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. Calm down, everyone. There is life without Harry Kane.
I think Bellingham's the answer. He played up front as a false 9 for Madrid in his first season. For half the season was incredible.
Yeah.
He's a match winner. He's a goal scorer. He's proven it time and time again.
talkSPORT's Danny Murphy says the Foden false 9 experiment was baffling. Thomas Tuchel expected more from both Foden and Palmer. He also admitted the team was too narrow as England lost to Japan. Simon Jordan says the man wasn't hired to win friendlies anyway. He's there to help England beat top sides at the sharp end of tournaments.
You will see Thomas Tuchel come to the fore in those moments, and that is the difference.
You're convinced of that?
That is what you're paying for. No, I'm convinced.
He will make the difference.
I'm convinced that he's a manager of that capability. Now, we will only see that being deployed when that moment comes.
England face Croatia in their first World Cup game in exactly 11 weeks' time. Now, Roberto Zerbi starts life at Spurs with some bad news. Perhaps SARS joined their long injury list, but here's some optimism for the relegation scrap. Adam Lallana says Zerbi is one of the most inspirational people there is.
After 5 minutes of him speaking in our first meeting when he joined Brighton, I was on board. I was following him, and I have no doubt that he'll be able to emulate that at Spurs.
And Chris Wokes has told talkSPORT, despite being a cricket traditionalist, he's in favour of the new subs rule.
It's going to be a little bit strange, the fact that there's the potential chance to sub someone in if there's a severe injury or personal issues or personal reasons or whatever it is. But a bit of a strange one, but the game moves forward.
The County Championship's now allowing like-for-like subs for injury, illness and significant life events like childbirth for the first time this season. That starts on Friday. More at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
Sir Keir Starmer warns the Iran war will affect the future of our country, and BBC bosses apparently knew Scott Mills had been questioned by police more than 7 years before he was sacked. Emma has more in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Store your new tyres this spring at a time that suits you best, from the comfort of your home or work 7 days a week, with our mobile tyre fitting service. Conditions apply.
Cloudier than yesterday. Wind and rain across northwest Scotland, gradually moving southeastward. Northern England and Wales should see that rain by the evening.
morning, everybody. 5 minutes past 11 o'clock this Wednesday morning. Danny Murphy is in studio. Of course he is, as he is every Wednesday morning. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy, and we are live on talkSPORT. Live everywhere you look. You want to watch the show? You can. We're live on Samsung, Chromecast, Google TV, even Prime Video, and everybody seems to be watching the show, and I am delighted about that. A lot to get through before we go at 1 o'clock today. In the world of boxing, Deontay Wilder takes on Derek Chisora this weekend. We're going to be hearing from Derek Chisora later on this morning. Who's going to win that one, Wilder or Chisora? We'll get to that. In the meantime, we're going to stick with this. Tottenham Hotspur have appointed Roberto De Zerbi as their new head coach. It is a 5-year deal. De Zerbi will become one of the best paid coaches in the Premier League, and he will receive a huge survival bonus if he keeps them up. Spurs were reluctant to include any relegation clause in De Zerbi's contract, in part because of the message it would send to the players. So there ain't no clause in there. His first game in charge will be away to Sunderland on April the 12th. Thereafter, at home to Brighton, away to Wolves and Villa, at home to Leeds, away to Chelsea, and at home to Everton. And the sporting director, Johan Lang, says De Zerbi was always the club's first choice. Simon, we've spoken about this, and now it's happened. Is this going to be a match made in heaven or hell?
Or, I mean, ultimately, for Spurs, if they avoid relegation as a result of the decisions that he makes, initially it'll be a match made in heaven. I mean, I judge him by his conduct in previous instances, and I always make the observation that if someone shows you what they are, believe them. But also, people are capable of revisiting things, changing the way they operate, and learning from their experiences. And that's the reasons why my attitude has adjusted towards Marcus Silva, because new information determines that. So my bias towards De Zerbi is not about his football coaching prowess, because we know he's a good, decent coach. Is he elite? No, I don't think he is. But is he a good one? Yeah. Is he better than Tudor? Yes. Is he worthy of being paid the third highest manager in the Premier League? Of course he's not. But Spurs have been bent over because they put themselves in a situation where they've got no choice to be able to go around and go, we are so desperate now, we'll pay anybody anything. It looks like, you know, if you can go into a desert and convince us that sand is water, we'll drink it, because we're in a situation where we're so desperate.
Yeah. No release clause, though. Is that not a win for Spurs?
Should there
no, should there be?
It's a free hit for him if they go down.
Right. And what was it you objected to? I mean, I spoke to Paul Barber the other night, the Brighton chief exec, and I said, this fallout you had with De Zerbi, now, it wasn't really a fallout. What was it in your eyes?
It was a fallout. You can have a different conversation with Paul where he wants to play a different bat. Everyone knows it's a fallout, and everyone knows it, but I think they described it once upon a time to me. It was like, you know, your favourite son having an argument with your favourite uncle, you know, and the uncle in this instance was Tony Bloom. You don't go after a game and losing a Champions League game and take a broadside to the ownership model that has effectively built this football club into a position where it's now established as a Premier League football club and has achieved all the things it's done. You do it privately. By all means, you have your rancour. By all means, you vent your spleen if that's what the relationship you've got. And there's nothing wrong with managers having a full tilt with their owner. Nothing wrong with that. There's everything wrong when you do it in the public domain, because you're not doing it for that reason, you're doing it for another.
Here's the thing, Danny. What did he do in the public domain? What did he actually say, De Zerbi? And this was him speaking after Brighton in 2024 went out of Europe at the hands of Roma.
The level of competition. We are not used to playing this competition, and today we paid everything. We paid squad not so long. We paid to play away in the stadium. We paid too many injuries players, and for us it's the first time, so we have to improve, we have to progress. If we want to compete in this level, from the owner to the coach, the players, we have to progress to reach one level higher.
We've all got to go one level higher, from owner to coach.
Yeah, I it's not that extreme, that interview in that bit we saw. I don't know how much more was said. I think it was a classic case of a manager who had success. They finished in the top 7, I think it was. They got into Europe, and then all of a sudden he starts thinking he's a bit better than he is. Like a lot of managers do, players do it, and you start believing the hype and you think you can speak out. I agree with Simon in that all those conversations are best done privately. But what you said before, I completely agree with, in that he's not daft. He's going to evolve. I know he's only been at clubs a year or two, but he's not going to always want to be that manager. He's going to look back, I hope, like any intelligent guy would, and go, didn't deal with that very well. I don't like that look. And you learn from it. Now, my experience of him, I was fortunate enough to meet him, chat with him for a while, and I watched a couple of his training sessions down at Brighton, and he was impressive. The session was quality. He was doing a session where they were working through the lines, and the intensity he had and what he was demanding. Football was good. I liked what I saw. And speaking to him, he had a presence. He had a bit about him. You know, when you're with someone and they've got a bit of an aura and some, I don't know what the word is, but like some grit and some belief in himself.
Gravitas.
Yeah, gravitas, good word. And I thought, he's got a bit about him. But I remember watching his Brighton teams and thinking, they know what they're doing. You can see that they've been coached and they've got a method. Now, I'm not sure that method is going to be the way to go in these next 6-7 games. I'd be loath to do that.
Why?
Because
if it's that impressive, why?
Because he hasn't got he hasn't got the time.
He hasn't got the time,
wisdom,
and it's dangerous. He's got to, but he's played the game. There's no way. I'd be amazed if I see Spurs go to Sunderland in his first game and start trying to play through the Sunderland press in front of their crowd. No, he's not daft. He's got to get them to the summer and keep them in the Prem. And then what you'll see is a progression in Tottenham's football and a definitive way of playing. Now, the good thing for Tottenham fans is that is winning football. He will be progressive. He'll take risks. That Brighton side took risks. They go after teams. They play a high line. They play good football. One of the arguments with Thomas Frank is that too often, I know he had injuries and stuff, but too often there was a pragmatism about Spurs and they didn't like it. Tottenham fans have had that argument with Conte, Mourinho. Tottenham fans, they want winning football, but they want it in the Tottenham way. Like every fan wants to see the team play great football. But Tottenham will get better if they stay up under him, for sure.
Right.
The problem you've got with him, he is fiery. He does have confrontation. Maybe that's just what they need now. Because the argument around Thomas Frank, did he have the gravitas to manage Tottenham? Was he too nice? He dealt with Romero with kid gloves. That was an opportunity for him to cement his position and go, hold on, sent off twice. Behaving like a child. The armband's coming off you and you're out of the team for 5 games. Go and sort yourself out.
See, I think it's a real commitment from him that is significant, Simon.
Oh, yeah? How's that then?
5 million.
Well, we heard... No, I'll take it at the end of the season when Tottenham have survived in the Premier League. No, he's in there. There's no release clause, and it starts now. He's prepared to go into the Championship with them if it happens.
But that's not... Ultimately, he's going to be paid as if he's a Premier League manager. He's going to be rewarded if he's a Premier League manager.
And they'll probably win everything.
The only consequence he'll have... The only consequence Zerbi will have is if he doesn't get promoted from the Championship, they got relegated. If in a year's time, that's where his reputation will take a nosedive. But the perspective of it is that he'll go into Tottenham, he will not take any risk because it's already being alluded to via various conversations that seem to have happened that the media seem to be briefed in. Is that he's accepted the principle of he plays a game of football that keeps him in the division. So we don't want any idealism at this moment in time. We want Tottenham to do what is required to get through these 7 games, get 3 wins out of the 7 games against Everton, against Leeds, and whoever else they've got at home, Wolves away, and games that they need to win points in, and get through that, and then take the risks in the following season when you've got the team in the Premier League and it's your side, you've got time to work with the players, weed out the idiots that don't need to be there, and bring in the ones that you do want them to be there. So all of that comes to play. So I don't look at it and go, well, that's so magnanimous of you. You got, you got a huge contract with huge incentives. You've got everything you wanted, and the only caveat is that the only bit of dignity that Spurs can actually come out of this with is that he didn't have the audacity to compel them to let him go.
The fact of the matter is, somebody else has got them in this mess.
Yeah, and that's why
Zerbi doesn't need a relegation on his CV.
But Zerbi's not that big a deal. I mean, he's managed Shakhtar Donetsk, Brighton, and Marseille. I mean, we're not talking about Carlo Ancelotti here. No. We're talking about a manager that's on his way up. We're talking about a manager like Marco Silva that cut his bones in Hull, and is now getting bigger opportunities. And people would consider Marco Silva to be as successful a manager as Zerbi, and he's managing Fulham. Tottenham is an infinitely bigger football club that's got itself into an awful mess, and they're paying the price for it. And the beneficiary of that is Zerbi and his bank balance.
And if he does go down anyway...
Well, he's not going to do it for nothing.
Even if they go
down... but he's going to do it for an outrageously overpriced, inflated value. I.e., do you think that Zerbi is the 3rd best manager in the Premier League? No, you don't. So why would he be paid the third highest? Because Spurs have got no bloody choice, and he has commercially profited out of it. And fair play to him.
Well, fair play to him. You see, that's
Totally
the point.
fair
If
play
you're
to him.
Zerbi, you're going to ask for
But,
him.
but don't give him a pat on the back then for not signing a relegation clause. Don't give him that pat on the back.
He could have asked for it.
And he did. And they've horse traded their way through it. And the way they've horse traded it through it, they've gone, I tell you what, how much do you want? And when can we wheel it round to you? And by the way, if you do keep us in the division, can we give you some more? Right? That's what the conversation appears to be like.
Danny, what we seem to have here is a man for the for now and for the future. Does that send any kind of message to this dressing room that needs to be shaken up? This guy's coming in now, and it starts now.
The length of the
in this position you're in.
The length of his contract doesn't really affect the player's mentality. The way he conducts himself when he walks through the door and the standards he sets is what. Even if you knew the manager was coming in for 3 months, if he walks through the door and he knows what he's on about and
you'll respond.
Yeah, and he captivates you and conducts himself in a way where the lads are like. I always use the example of Fulham when we were done and Roy came in the January, whatever it was, and a lot of lads didn't really know him. And that first meeting, all of a sudden, when because he's a good talker and he knows it, the lads like.
Oh, yeah.
And that wasn't about the length of his contract. That was like the way he was.
Well, interesting.
Like wit.
Interesting to look at how Spurs have sold themselves to De Zerbi. We'll look at that next. Do you trust the Spurs ownership to get this next appointment right?
Do I trust the Spurs ownership? I don't know. Do I rate the Spurs ownership?
Well, you said you're not sure that you know what they're doing.
It's not for me to trust them because I don't care about their judgment. But do I rate their judgment? Well, not at this moment in time, because the body of work that they've produced is poor. They weren't responsible for the appointment of Thomas Frank, so it's an irrelevance, that question, because Daniel Levy made that appointment. The fact that he fired him, the fact that was an inevitability and forecast by me 2 or 3 months earlier isn't a surprise. The fact that they've in my mind, they've got 2 people that are number 2s in business, running the business and making decisions with outside influences that sit on their board that don't have any football knowledge, in my view, making decisions, has brought out outcomes that would make anybody go, well, I don't really rate their thinking. As far as the Zerbi is concerned, he's a decent manager. He comes with his own baggage like most of them do. He did a decent job at Brighton. He was an ungrateful little wretch when he departed because he decided to have a broadside at the owner of the football club that spent enormous amounts of time giving him an opportunity and backing him. Just because you lost a game in Europe doesn't really entitle you to have a broadside at your ownership model. But that's what he does, and that's what you get. Now, for him, taking Tottenham Hotspur, I think there's all upside for him. This is a huge football club. Irrespective if it gets relegated or not, my balance of probabilities it will bounce back again. And it'll be priced into people's thinking. If he takes the Tottenham job because of the size of that football club and the scale of it, then there will always be a dispensation if they were to be relegated, because it wouldn't be on his watch, really. He can't be responsible for less than 20% of the season, producing an outcome that ultimately has already been seeded in the previous 80%. He might get them close and close and go down and do what Benitez did, which is bring them back up again.
Wednesday morning, Roberto De Zerbi has got the job at Tottenham Hotspur. Interesting to see what he said on arrival. I'm delighted to be joining this fantastic football club, which is one of the biggest and most prestigious in the world. In all my discussions with the club's leadership, their ambition for the future has been clear: to build a team capable of reaching great achievements, and to do that playing a style of football that excites and inspires our supporters. Simon, is this an ownership with a history of ambition? If not, what have they sold to this guy?
Well, the ownership that now exists has always been the ownership. The idea that Daniel Levy was the only person in the room that was deciding the direction of travel for Tottenham, given the fact that the financing of the football club came from the majority shareholder, which is the Joe Lewis family. So all you've got is a rearranging of the guard, which is Daniel Levy being unceremoniously booted out of the door, these guys coming in with what I consider to be zero football nous, and a load of ambition, apparently, which was not matched in January when it was needed to be.
No.
I.e., when the real crisis was coming, when the real problem was coming, when the real football nous was required to look at the situation and say, we need to react to this. Well, react to it with the manager. They support the playing squad by selling Brennan Johnson and using the money to buy Conor Gallagher. That's a well-beating decision. And as a result of it, you've got no motivation or momentum in the squad to support what's clearly required, which is a squad, for whatever reason, whatever way we look at it, whether it's decimated by injuries or crap attitudes from people like Romero, you needed to freshen up that dressing room and you didn't do it. So the football knowledge, based upon what they said it, their words. They came out and said, new dawn, new era, big ambition, pots and pans of what we're going to win, and we're going to back it. Oh, you did you? So my answer to that is that, to some extent, despite my particular bias towards, ironically, my relationship with Daniel, because back in the day it wasn't very good at all when Tottenham and were rivals, and they were buying my players and bending me over with John Bostock and Wayne Routledge and God knows wherever else. But over the years, I've developed a respect for the acumen that goes. I know he could have won more. Clearly, he could have won more. Clearly, I think a person with perhaps more emotion and more risk in their profile could have propelled Tottenham further forward.
Yeah.
But the guiding lights economically behind Tottenham Hotspur and the mandates behind Tottenham Hotspur were the Lewis family. And the idea that Tottenham Hotspur isn't for sale by Daniel Levy, that's now running around suggesting that the previous guy that he admired with great big goggle eyes is now somebody that should be vilified for the decisions that he's made. They're a bunch of hypocrites. And interestingly, the big story in football, and I don't want it for them, would be Tottenham Hotspur getting relegated. That would be a massive story. A huge story. You think you've seen situations before. They wanted this football club to sell for £3.5 billion. And the dream behind selling that football club was Tottenham Hotspur doesn't get relegated. We're a franchise, quote unquote, for business terms.
Yeah.
That never gets relegated. We were guaranteed. Now you're in the Championship. You've shown what. Go sell it now.
I tell you what, though, Simon.
Go sell it now.
Nonetheless, they've sold something of a dream to De Zerbi, haven't they?
Well, yeah, a big bag of money. Because Tottenham Hotspur's a big club. Irrespective, however you slice and dice it, they won the Europa League last year. They were in the Champions League 6 years ago, final. They finished second in the league that season. They've been in and around the top echelons of the Premier League for most of its existence, with a few moments in time where they've been dreadful. So it's not a difficult dream to sell somebody. And by the way, the added benefit, the real kicker, the real decider for De Zerbi is this great big sack load of Briggs Mat delivery salary.
I know. I mean, you say that, but he's coming in with their ambition for the future has been clear: to build a team capable of reaching great achievements.
Well, they said that.
Do you know what? I'm in.
They said that at the beginning of the season. That was their shtick. I mean, you cannot, despite the fact that Spurs finished 17th last year, they won the Europa League, so it gives them a bit of a get-out-of-jail card. Their performance in the league was atrocious, but they got a get-out-of-jail card. This lot have come in with their spirit of revolution. They're going to get relegated. I mean, how clueless have you got to be?
I think it's for the Zerbi, Jim. It's actually a no-brainer because it's a massive club with a huge fan base.
Fabulous stadium. Fabulous revenues underneath it.
What other options are going to get better? Because if he keeps them up, and this is the little key bit, but if he does keep them up, well, even if he doesn't, they're going to walk the Championship. But even if he doesn't, if he does, he's got this amazing club that's been struggling like mad for a couple of years. It can only go one way. And he's a good coach. So he's going to be looking at it thinking, this is no-brainer. Paying me a fortune. Squad's decent.
Yeah.
Squad's more than decent. I can bring in some new players in the summer.
Yeah.
Win-win.
Do you know, is there something on the horizon, though, Simon, when you hear what we're hearing from the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust? De Zerbi's potential appointment's been opposed by some fans because of his previous support for Mason Greenwood at Marseille. Greenwood joined Marseille from United in the summer of 2024. De Zerbi was the head coach, and he said Greenwood was a good guy who paid a heavy price following his departure from Old Trafford. And of course, that was sparked after the player was charged with attempted rape, controlling and coercive behaviour and assault in 2022. The charges were dropped in 2023 after key witnesses withdrew and new material came to light. The Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust has jumped on this. De Zerbi's comments about Mason Greenwood were unnecessary, ill-judged and deeply offensive to a significant number of fans and, without doubt, will have left victims of male violence alarmed. We believe these statements, left unchecked, will create a divide among fans at a time when we all need to be pulling together to back the team. The Spurs hierarchy got a problem on the horizon there?
Who knows? I mean, lots of people are entitled to lots of different views. I mean, De Zerbi is across more of the information rather than the public domain stuff that these people might be aware of. Of course, it's concerning. I have a daughter. I don't take these things lightly about abuse and domestic abuse. I have people in my life that are very important in my life that were victims of significant domestic abuse. So it's not something I just gloss or glibly pass over. But there are circumstances in this situation, and I don't think this is sub judice anymore, where the person on behalf of somebody that isn't offended, and the circumstances and the detail and length and breadth, the new information that was presented to the CPS post their initial circumstances. Now, we all heard the tapes that were released by the person involved in the conversation making the allegations that were then pared back from. The new evidence now suggests that there was a different set of scenarios. You've got De Zerbi knows the kid. He probably knows the girl. He probably knows the circumstances better than all these fans. And so, with due respect, we are judging, as Martin Samuel said in his article, we are judging De Zerbi by giving somebody an opportunity to redeem themselves, rather than judging them by a moment in time which might have been their worst moment. So what is it we want? Do we want a redemptive society? Has Mason Greenwood not paid a price for his ridiculous and absurd behaviour? I think he probably has.
Well, Simon mentioned there Martin Samuel in the Times, Danny. Tottenham are not signing Greenwood. De Zerbi's offence, it would seem, is to think the player worthy of another chance, to speak of him in positive terms rather than constantly defining him by his basest moment.
Well, it's hard to go against that. And what Simon's just eloquently explained, I kind of agree. I mean, he has faced huge repercussions for his awful behaviour. And the reality, some might not agree with that because he's still allowed to play. But ultimately, what do we do? Do we punish people forever? Was there a time scale on giving someone another opportunity to have a life? I think it will die down there.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't become a bat to beat De Zerbi.
That something persists.
Yeah.
That certainly is coming from a section of the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust at this time. I'm going to put it out there very shortly about this appointment, because if De Zerbi is buying into the vision, Spurs fans, are you prepared to do just that as well? 03717 223344. On Friday night, England drew 1-1 with Uruguay. Ben White making his first appearance for his country since he walked out at the Qatar 2022 World Cup camp due to a reported falling out with the then assistant Steve Holland. So, Ben White on Friday night, Martin, A bit of an eventful night for Ben, to put it mildly. He gets booed when he put the ball in the back of the net, and he gave away the penalty in the 94th minute to see the game finish 1-1. And he was booed as he came off. Jonathan Norcroft in the Times, it's an angry world and modern football crowds exhibit it. But booing a player after scoring for your country is still difficult to comprehend. Supporters do need to hear Ben White express some sort of regret. White is shy, but it's not too much to ask him to talk. We didn't hear from Ben, but we heard from Tuchel on the boos.
Disappointed if our players are booed. I understood that it happened before to players and they went through it and took it on the chin. Still, I don't like it. Still, I'm disappointed. I will always protect my players. He did so well in training and he scored for us, so it could have been a perfect comeback. But it was mixed reactions. It was not only boos, some cheered, so let's hope we put this behind us.
Martin, Jonathan Norcroft in the Times were saying that maybe if he's going to continue his international career, Ben White, he should explain himself what happened. Maybe speak out about.
Thomas Tuchel says it's normal to rely on big players like Harry Kane. He was rested as England lost to Japan, with Foden, Rodgers and Palmer all starting. Tuchel admits England were too narrow.
We tried later with Dom Solanke in there, and then we had Harry Maguire and Dan Burn for the set pieces, for the crosses, for more crosses. We had more width and more mobility on the side. We got a bit better.
Tuchel's now overseen England's first defeats to Asian and African opposition. Now, Andy Robertson's not sure why some fans booed Scotland again last night after their 1-0 friendly defeat to the Ivory Coast. Robertson says for him, it wasn't a booing performance. Roberto De Zerbi starts life at Spurs with some bad news. Pape Sarr's joined their long injury list. But here's some optimism for the relegation scrap. Adam Lallana calls De Zerbi one of the most inspirational people there is.
After 5 minutes of him speaking in our first meeting when he joined Brighton, I was on board. I was following him, and I have no doubt that he'll be able to emulate that at Spurs.
And Tiger Woods is stepping away from golf to recover. He's pleaded not guilty to driving under the influence after Friday's car crash in Florida. There's more at talkSPORT.com.
Just gone 11:30 this Wednesday morning. Forgive us, we want to stay in the theme of Tottenham Hotspur, but not on the field of play, not regarding De Zerbi, not really what he may or may not achieve in the short time he's got between now and the end of the season with the players at his disposal. Will they stay in the Premier League? Will they drop down to the Championship? That apart, threats of legal action in the boardroom. Now, is it all noise? Now, with Simon here, let's try and put a bit more meat in the bones of this. Former chairman Daniel Levy has considered suing his former business partner Joe Lewis after, quotes, being unceremoniously thrown out of the club that he ran. That's according to sources speaking to Bloomberg. Sources added that any potential investors looking to buy Spurs risk walking into a complex of civil war over shares, accounting reviews, and intertwined with family trusts. Now, a complicating factor in all of this is Levy's claim to an additional stake in ENIC, the club's majority owner. Levy and his family own 29.88% of ENIC. But however, if Levy believes that he has a claim to a further 10% or so in Spurs, then this could get even more interesting. Sources mentioned that these shares are, quotes, said to be owned by the Lewis Trust, But the ultimate beneficiaries are the Levy family. If Levy eventually gets his shares, it would place him over the 30% threshold and trigger a mandatory all-cash offer for the rest of ENIC. Simon, that is how the story is being presented. What is your reading of it?
I don't read it that way to some extent. I mean, I think that the journalist is likely to be briefed, if I'm to going out on a limb, by a potential purchaser rather than anyone inside Daniel or Joe Lewis's camp. I don't think that the bohemian ownership model that ENIC operates under is governed by takeover law. So I don't think there's an inherent obligation, potentially, even if Daniel were to have this extra 10% in ENIC, which he may well have.
Yeah.
He may well have. None of us are privy, not me, not the journalist, and the only people who are really likely privy to the actual, well, clearly privy to the circumstances around any beneficial ownership that Daniel may have of additional 10% of ENIC are Daniel, the Lewis family, and maybe HMRC, because they'll have to have been declared about it. Now, with that in mind, the peculiarities of that, who knows whether they're beneficial ownership, they're only economic based, i.e. they're worth what they're worth when they're sold and you get the economic returns on it, or they're voting, they're unassignable. And the interesting thing is, even if it did trigger an opportunity or force Daniel to potentially do something more different with Spurs, because that was one of the conversations I was trying to work out through this scenario of how it affects Tottenham Hotspur, because ENIC own 87% of Spurs, the other 13%, but ENIC already own it. And Daniel as a shareholder, if he was to go up to 40% or to go past a particular trigger point, even though I think it probably doesn't trigger very much, it would only mean, in my view, that he had to buy the 13% that the other shareholders have got. Because ENIC already owns 87%.
Right.
He isn't going to be forced to buy. And I don't think he's forced to buy, because I don't think the takeover laws that are relevant to listed businesses in this country are relevant to Bahamian businesses, which ENIC is. So I think none of this is
based in the Bahamas, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I look at this and think where the substance in this is that there is likely to be some unsightly situations going on between Joe Lewis or the Joe Lewis family and Daniel Levy, because he was unceremoniously booed out the door. And I don't think he particularly appreciates it.
Is the question for Spurs fans, to simplify this, more about if there was a new buyer who wanted to buy the club, can Daniel be a hurdle or a problem in that for ENIC?
Depends on the deal they've got around the
fair
shares.
question, Daniel.
Well, it depends upon the deals they've got on Dragon Tag. I assume there's a Dragon Tag, which means that ultimately, if the majority shareholder wants to sell his shares, there's a Dragon Tag for everyone else involved, i.e. the price goes to everybody else involved. I don't think Daniel can block it, but it may well be, without necessarily knowing the facts. I know that, listen, I spoke to Daniel last night. This is rubbish, this story. There's no substance in it, right? But I think there's substance.
There's no legal action coming.
There's no issue around aspects of Joe Lewis and his family being able to sell this business if they want to. Nothing's changed in September. There's no material changes.
Right.
Without breaching any too much of the confidences that I may or may not have with Daniel. The fact of the matter is that you look at the circumstance and you go, is it likely that Daniel is happy with the way he was treated? Is there a possibility that he might be trying to bust the trust? That might be an issue, because if a trust has been set up, because once upon a time, Daniel, in my view, was Joe Lewis's surrogate son. Somehow, for whatever reason, they've fallen out. Now, I don't know. This is supposition on my part, whether Daniel was trying to sell his shares in ENIC to a third party at the same time as getting himself a better deal, and Lewis fell out with him. I don't know. Or whether there was a bigger picture, which was the rumour that there was a £3.5 billion bid on the table, and Daniel was going to be part of the thing going forward with an enormous salary, which Joe Lewis took exception to.
Yeah,
you can work within the realms of all these different possibilities, but none of this, I think, is really being briefed in by anybody else than a potential purchaser looking at this going, this is a bit complicated, because it is a bit complicated. Because if you've got beneficial ownership trust set up and someone's trying to bust that trust, and that's a supposition on my part, that could create problems.
Right.
But I think it's a little bit of a storm in a teacup. Intriguing, though.
The thing of it is intriguing, Simon, because the thing of it is, only a year ago, it seemed that it was all so cosy and everybody was so friendly. Daniel Levy was in conversation with the now chief executive, Vinay Venkatesham, and they were talking about working together and their ambitions going forward.
I think the club has got wonderful foundations. I'm biased. I grew up in London, so I think the club is based in the greatest city in the world. It has an outstanding stadium and training centre, and it's got a huge global fan base. The foundations are brilliant, but I wouldn't be here if I didn't think that there was another level that this football club can get to. We've got a bit of a taste of that in Bilbao. I think everyone associated with the club wants more of that. And I think there is another level this club can get to, and I wouldn't be here if I didn't think that level was there.
We're very proud of the stadium, but we need to make sure we win on the pitch. There's no point in having a wonderful stadium if you haven't got a wonderful team and winning. I mean, the reason we do all these other events is to provide additional financial resources to the club, which in turn goes back into the team. Everything is about the team. Everything.
I don't know how you do it. I remember, I think when you got to 20 years, you might not remember this. I remember I sent you a nice bottle of wine with a letter saying, I don't know how you've done it for so long, because it just takes everything from you. It just, the energy you need to put into it. So your stamina is quite something.
Do you know, I've got very broad shoulders. Failure's not an option. The desire to succeed. And because it's so difficult, I want to succeed even more.
My perspective of you is I think you have got a very thick skin and you've got very broad shoulders, but I also see how much it affects you because I can see how much you want to win, right? So I think sometimes there's a perspective that because you have got a thick skin that it doesn't affect you, but I see it does. And I could see it in you before the Bilbao final because I could see just how much you wanted it.
Well, maybe it was just as well that Daniel had a thick skin because 3 months later he was ousted.
Isn't that just the way of the world?
Oh, Danny, you should hear what we say about you once we leave the studio. Not long after that, the same Vinay Venkatesham, who was lauding and applauding Daniel Levy there, he blamed Levy for the club's issues at a fan advisory board meeting. Insufficient focus across the organisation on-pitch success, a lack of specialist expertise in certain areas, and insufficient empowerment of experts in others. A growing disconnect between the club and its supporters base. But 3 months before that, Daniel, I don't know how you do it.
It's like
what?
It's like wedding vows, isn't it?
That shows you the calibre, doesn't it? I don't doubt the man is a commercially adept operator. But the king is dead. Long live the king. I had one of those in Phil Alexander, who was a treacherous hound as well. And in this instance, you've got people not leaders. Not leaders. That's not a leader. That's not a leader. That's not a leader. First of all, what a fawning, pitiful, sycophantic exhibition of absolute ghastliness, right? which was then spun on its head 6 months later because his new masters have suggested something different. I mean, that doesn't smack to me of any one single scintilla of integrity, does it you? For me...
Integrity or sincerity.
Yeah, I mean, listen...
And I met Vinay, and I thought he was a delightful
He's an operator.
Fella.
I'm sure he's an operator. I want leaders. It's not a leader. You don't run with a hare and hump with the hounds as a leader. You have definite views. Yeah, you adjust your information and you pivot. And he may well have found some awful bodies in the building, metaphorically speaking, that subsequently explain this massive sea change that he's gone on. Or... he's a hard hand. And what he does is what he's told. And what voice and what messages he imparts are the ones that someone else gives him.
Yeah.
But then would you say someone like Jim Ratcliffe then? Because you want leaders. If you look around and he's
but he don't care.
But he's talking about...
That's why he should never apologise for what he said.
He's talking about Amorim and how great he is and he's going to be here for 3 years and then all of a sudden...
He fires him.
Yeah.
He fires him.
Is that leadership?
But he made the decision. Ultimately, this guy is running around. I mean, I don't think calling someone a good coach and thinking that he might need time is being sycophantic as that was pitiful.
Okay,
that was embarrassing. I would have a good word for myself if I was him.
Have you ever been that sycophantic about anyone?
No.
Anyway, the situation about me, the situation now is that Zerbi is in charge and it's a 5-year deal. He's bought into the vision, has he not? He has, big time. But Tottenham fans, are you buying into it? Give us a shout if you like, 03717 223344 810 89. And after the show, behind his back, Simon and I will talk about Danny.
Is Itoma the sort of fighter, Dave, that the likes of Fury, the likes of AJ, you know, that they're in the mid-30s now, they're trying to avoid, and maybe more like a Fabio Wardley and Dubois would be one of the fights that you'll have next?
Yeah, Joshua and Fury won't go near him. He's too young, too fresh, too fast. You know, their best days have gone. So, Itama, realistically, he's looking at Dubois, Wardley winner. I don't think the Wardley winner. I think if Wardley wins, I don't think he'll box him because they're in the same gym.
Yeah.
Dubois may, but Caballel, you know, Itama's gonna have to fight one of them guys. He's not gonna get one of the old guard that's on the way out. He's gonna have to box one of the real, you know, main men, which is Caballel. So it's interesting, and then he's going to be around for another 15 years, hopefully. You know, so there's going to be people we're not even heard of yet that are going to come and have a go at him.
Is that the danger with heavyweights like him, to be so strong and powerful but quick as well?
Yeah, it's the speed. All heavyweights can punch. For me personally, I've never been put over in a fight, never been down and out. That's because I can see him coming. The danger with the time is you don't really see him coming. He's that fast. You know, he throws a lovely right hook off the back of a left hand to the body, and no one sees it coming. That's what Franklin does well. Franklin doesn't get hit properly. That's why he's never been over. All his great chin talk for me is nonsense. There's no great chins. Anyone gets hit properly, you go over.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. We're ready for the action. Are you? Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
Coming up to 10 minutes to midday this Wednesday morning, we're live in talkSPORT with Selco where the trade goes. Sean Martin from BetMGM joins us at this stage in the proceedings. Simon alongside me, so too is Danny. Sean, good morning. What about the World Cup in terms of a roundup from where it all ended up?
Morning, lads. Yeah, we now know all 48 teams in all 12 groups. I did say I didn't trust Italy to get the job done last night, so we go into the 2026 World Cup with no Italy, no Denmark, no Poland after last night's results in the UEFA finals. The markets are properly taking shape now, though, and England straight in as 11-2 second favourites to win the World Cup, but ranked fourth in the world overall behind Spain, France and Argentina. For my money, and I'm sure it will be a popular choice, France at 6-1 looks really, really good value. Winners and runners-up at the last two World Cups. And if we think the last two friendlies have potentially exposed maybe a bit of a lack of top quality depth in the England setup, it's the total opposite for France, especially up top. Wait to hear this. French front four against Brazil, right? Dembele, Olise, Mbappe, Ekitike. The so-called B team against Colombia, they were swapped out for Thuram, Doué and Cherki. And that's not even getting into the kind of defensive depth as well, guys. They swapped virtually everyone out and didn't lose a whole lot of quality. It looks ridiculous on paper to me. On France as well, a couple of colleagues this morning were saying they reckon it looks like Ekitike might actually be taking that French starting striker spot. And if you think that's going to happen and that they'll be there at the kind of thick end of things. 40-1 currently for him to win the Golden Boot could be massive, massive odds. And I know you're all wondering, Scotland, a snip at 250-1. Although, to be fair, booed off in consecutive friendlies doesn't actually bode too well, does it, Jim?
250-1. That should be 25,000-1.
I beg your pardon.
Well, they're not going to win it, are they?
Exactly.
So you might as well try and entice people's money.
Well, Greece won the Euros, didn't they?
Come on.
Yeah.
Yes, Jim, there you go.
There you go. Am I right, Sean?
Greeks bearing gifts.
Leicester won the Premier. What was Leicester winning the Premier League? 5,000-1.
Yeah,
Give
but
us
we're talking about
5,000-1. And I might go...
We're talking about Scotland.
Yes. All right. Danny is with us. So that means that you can swing a golf club and talk about the Texas Open golf for me.
Yeah, well, first off, credit where it's due, Danny. Min Woon Lee, top 10 finish. That tip did land last week, so fair play to your good self. But yeah, a week out from the Masters, but before then, just the small matter of the Valero Texas Open. 22 Masters invitees teeing it up, $1.7 million to the winner. And if the winner isn't already going to the Masters, there's an invite held in reserve for them, I believe. So big incentive there for an underdog winner. Now, there's only 3 of the world's top 10 in the field. I think Tommy Fleetwood is a 14-1 joint favourite, Colin Morikawa at 18s and Russell Henley at 16s. So no Scotty, no Rory, Cam Young, Fitzpatrick, Schauffele, etc. But there's still almost 200 PGA Tour victories across the field. You've still got Ludwig Åberg, he's 14-1 joint favourite. Jordan Spieth, Hideki Matsuyama, he's at 20s alongside Bob McIntyre in there at the same price. Brian Harman, defending champ from last year, way out at 66-1. Now, Danny, assuming your head is already turning in the direction of Augusta National, as I say, only 22 of the Masters invitees playing. If you were on tour, would you want to play this event the week before if you've already qualified?
I'm amazed there's only 2 or 3. What do you say? 2 or 3 out of the top 10 playing? Yeah, I'm amazed at that. Yeah. But I'm pleased. I think Tommy.
Sorry, 3 of the top 10. 3 of the top 10, 6 of the top 20.
I think Tommy's playing because he hasn't been in his best form. So I expect to see a big tournament from him. But I will be watching it still. I mean, I'm looking forward to the Masters. But yeah, Tommy playing, and Åberg threw away that lead, didn't he, a couple of weeks ago? But I think more importantly, got to mention Gary Woodland. I don't know if you saw that story at the weekend.
Oh, he won at the weekend. Oh, brilliant.
After the brain surgery.
Yes.
And the PTSD and stuff. Incredible.
Yeah.
It really was an emotion. If you see someone like that, it's like someone overcoming all that. That was a special round of golf. Under the pressure he was under to play, he hit it and beautifully.
Yeah, magnificent. Who'd you take to win the Masters, incidentally?
Oh, I don't know, Jim. It's a tough one. The big hitters will be there or thereabouts because they've got the experience. I've got a feeling Fitzpatrick's playing unbelievable.
Brilliant. Yeah.
He's cool as a cucumber, isn't he?
Yeah. Yorkshire.
What price is Fitzpatrick?
Sorry?
What price is Fitzpatrick for the Masters?
Fitzpatrick 20-1 to win the Masters.
Oh, Danny, come on.
Yeah, I'll probably have a little go at that.
Okay. In the world of boxing, what's next for Moses Atoma?
Yeah, that's the key question, isn't it? Been pretty consumed by boxing chat since Saturday night, really. The Atoma Franklin outcome was definitely something most folks saw coming, wasn't it, Simon? Albeit I do think, in my circles anyway, the manner of it seems to have made a few more kind of casual fans sit up a bit and look at Atoma. I asked you last week, did you think they could have gone a rung further in terms of an opponent for Atoma instead of Franklin? You threw a couple of names out there, Philip Hergovich and others. In the aftermath, I've gone and got a heap of different fights priced up, Simon. So the world's your oyster here. Timelines be damned. If you're Queensberry, where do you try to push Atoma next? Like Hergovich, if he beats Dave Allen still. The winner of Dubois Wardley looks like he might become WBO mandatory for that. Usyk's already kind of continually ruled it out. So would you look at someone like Justice Huni, Caballel? Where'd you go?
Frank Sanchez. Potentially
Sanchez
for the IBF belt. Yeah. I think it may drop that the IBF belt might be relieved from Usyk for his failure to complete the mandatories. Sanchez is in position to fight for it, and I think they're going to shoehorn Moses Atoma in to fight Frank Sanchez. And by the way, he'll knock him into next week.
Would the Usyk fight, Simon, if someone threw enough money at it?
Usyk won't fight Atoma.
What, because of his legacy?
Yeah, because there's too much risk reward here. Unless someone, if to answer your question, if someone's going to pay him like Turkey is going to pay him £100 million to fight Moses Atoma, then possibly. But I don't think that's going to happen. And judging by the way he performed, I mean, Liam Smith was talking the other day, and I know that people react instantaneously, but his default setting straight after the fight was, this kid is in a position where he could beat Usyk.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, I got, when I say I get a heap of fights priced up, it's not like 4 or 5. There's about 11 or 12. Dubois, Wardley, Hergovich.
He won't fight Wardley. If Wardley beats,
I think so. I mean, to be fair, if he did, it would be really interesting. Same stable,
but
same
they've said
trainer.
it. They've said it. I mean, Fabio Wardley said it on Saturday night in the odd position that he found himself in, commenting while everyone was waxing lyrical over Moses Toma being the best heavyweight fighter in the world, whilst he's the WBO heavyweight champion, and said that we're not going to be fighting anytime soon. It's way down the future, and the only time we'll fight is if I've got 2 belts and he's got 2.
Nice. I mean, yeah, such as the Atoma aura at the moment. All these fights I got priced up, he's actually rated, you won't be surprised really, but he's actually rated favourite and odds-on favourite at that, to varying degrees against every one of them, including Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. The sole exception is Usyk, which he's just under 3-1 underdog for, although I did also see what Liam Smith said, and maybe that is actually overpriced if you think it would happen.
Yeah.
Frank Sanchez, it's around about the 61-71 on or so. Mark for Atoma to beat him, same as kind of Caballero. I heard on Top Box and Andy Ruiz getting mentioned as well. I don't.
Yeah, that was by Nikisa. That was by Nikisa Badarian. The reason why he mentioned Ruiz is because if you want to market Atoma and make him a crossover, yank him over to the States, beat up Ruiz in Madison Square Garden, and do what Anthony Joshua didn't do. That's a real marketing hook.
Okay, Sean, thank you very much indeed, mate. Thank you for all your boxing latest betting. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Keep things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Okay, we put out a question. I put out a question just a short time ago, just before we went into the chat with Sean Martin of BetMGM. Roberto De Zerbi has bought into the Spurs project in a big way, 5 years of it. I wonder where the Spurs fans are with De Zerbi. Kate is a big Spurs fan who's waiting patiently. Kate, good morning. Sorry to keep you. What do you think of what's going on?
Good morning, gentlemen. Look, I think it's a good appointment for Spurs. I've got to be honest and say I'm not looking much past the first 7 games. That's all that matters to me at the moment. And I also think that this guy is earning a ridiculous amount of money, and it will probably end up as Conte 2.0, where he comes out in a rant when he doesn't get what he wants, which he won't, because they never do, and will, get himself a nice juicy payout. But at the minute, that doesn't concern me. All that concerns me is staying up.
I can imagine. Kate, can I ask you, as a female who supports Spurs, you'll be aware of the comments from the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust, not happy regarding De Zerbi's former association and comments regarding Mason Greenwood when he was at Marseille. Do you have a view on that?
I was saying to the lady I was talking to, I've got a podcast, so we talked about this at length. Look, I actually suffered under domestic violence myself, and I have to say, first of all, people change. I'm a real advocate for people change. We make mistakes. He was young. I am not in any way condoning what he did, but Tottenham fans can't cherry pick or, who they want to cry about. Gaza beat his wife famously, and yet he's a hero at Spurs. Lloris was a drunk driver, and yet you never heard Spurs fans talk about that. Yes, it's bad what this guy did, but he's not the one coming to the club. It's De Zerbi, and he was just sticking up for his manager. And I just think, I don't want to play it down because it's terrible what this guy did or didn't do. However, people really can change, and he was a young man. His wife is now still with him. They've had children. So who are we to judge this guy? That's how I feel.
Kate, thank you very much indeed for calling in. That takes us to 12 noon this Wednesday lunchtime.
With Mo Salah leaving, a lot of commentators have talked about the fact there's a lack of icons in the Premier League. Obviously, last year we had De Bruyne leave. You've had over the course of the last few years. You've had Ronaldo back fleetingly. You've had Ibrahimovic here fleetingly. But the big boys don't come to the Premier League, do they? I mean, Haaland is probably the only global icon that is still there. Would that be fair? I mean, Son's not there anymore. De Bruyne's not there anymore. Salah's going. Kane, Ronaldo, Zlatan, all gone. Mbappe, Vinicius, Bellingham, Messi, Neymar. They would rather play elsewhere. Why?
That's a very good question. I don't think there's as many superstars today as there kind of has been in the past. Obviously, Messi, Ronaldo were the two superstars, and no one could get anywhere near them. And that doesn't mean to say that others like Neymar and Luis Suarez weren't. What I would say is, I think Real Madrid's, whatever you say about Manchester United, even when they're at their pomp, that I think are the biggest club in the world, the most attractive club in the world. You could argue maybe even Madrid in terms of just living there as well, I think is incredible. Barcelona too. You think about that Barcelona team of Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Puyol, just absolutely sensational. And you look at Real Madrid now, Vinny Jr., Mbappe, Bellingham. Who else have I missed? I think the general ones, they've always had the very, very top ones have probably gone to La Liga and Real Madrid. Whereas the Premier League, it's almost like the next section down, but deep.
talkSPORT Sports Update powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles built around your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
Good afternoon, I'm Max Scott here with your sports headlines. talkSPORT's Danny Murphy says Jude Bellingham's the best option to play up front for England if Kane isn't fit. Tuchel expected more from false nine Foden and playmaker Palmer in the defeat to Japan. Danny says some of Tuchel's decisions were baffling.
Experiment, I get it. But Foden's never played as a false nine from City, really. Gordon's been playing up front for Newcastle. But Morgan Rogers does not play on the right for Villa. Very, very rare. And he sticks him on the right. He does all his work either as a 10 on the left. Palmer's been playing on the right for Chelsea.
Simon Jordan hopes tournament winner Tuchel was hired to make those big game decisions.
When it comes on top, when the moments matter, we're going to see or not see why Thomas Tuchel was hired. Thomas Tuchel was not hired to win friendlies. He was hired to go deep into a tournament and do better than what Gareth Southgate did.
England's World Cup campaign kicks off in 11 weeks against Croatia. Every game of this World Cup, of course, is live here on talkSPORT. Now, Roberto De Zerbi hasn't been at Spurs for 24 hours, but he's already got an injury to Pape Sarr to contend with. But Adam Lallana, who played under De Zerbi at Brighton, has no doubt he's going to keep Spurs up.
I'm actually slightly jealous. I was speaking to a player at Spurs who was picking my brains about him, and I just know how they're going to be in for a roller coaster, but a great one.
And Chris Wokes has told us he's happy but surprised Brendan McCullum is still England's head coach, and he's looking forward to the Bazball setup being less of a closed shop.
More so than ever, they'll be looking at county cricket than they have done in the last few years. For people to put their hands up, put some pressure on the current crop of players.
The County Championship starts on Friday. There's more on talkSPORT's cricket YouTube channel.
talkSPORT News.
The PM says Iran war de-escalation and the reopening of a major shipping channel are the priority. And the BBC was forced to sack presenter Scott Mills after new information about his conduct emerged. Emma's got more in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Spring forwards with Bridgestone Turanza all season 6 tyres with a 25,000 mileage guarantee. Book today at quickfit.com. Conditions apply.
Cloudier than yesterday. Wind and rain across northwest Scotland, gradually moving southeastwards. Northern England and Wales should see that rain by the evening.
Good afternoon, everybody. 5 minutes past 12 noon. It's Jim White and Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy, and we are live on talkSPORT, live on your TV as well. Even Prime Video, if you want to watch a show live on YouTube, you can. We're there for you. Every morning between 10 and 1 live on talkSPORT. A lot to get through in the final hour. We will talk boxing as well because this weekend, and Simon has been talking about it on Talk Boxing, the upcoming fight between Deontay Wilder and Derek Chisora. Both their 50th fights, aren't they? Their career 50th fight. So who's going to come out on top in that one? We're going to hear from Derek Chisora in the final hour. We've heard, Danny, from Chelsea's Marc Cucurella in this international break. He's been speaking out about the sacking of Enzo Maresca and the approach of the Chelsea ownership. Speaking to The Athletic, the Chelsea defender Cucurella has been reflecting on a season of change at Stamford Bridge. He talks about the humbling at the hands of PSG. Results like that are always hard to take. You're fighting and training every day, only to realise at the very end that when games matter, we're still a bit away from the top level. I understand this part of the club's policy and that they want to take this direction, signing young players and looking to the future. But for all of us who are still here and want to win big things, moments like this make you feel discouraged. What's he doing there, Danny? Having a swipe at the ownership and their policy of signing youngsters?
He is, really. He's actually right. And he's probably trying to do it in the most sensitive way. It's not aggressively having a go at them, but when you read through it, yeah. He's basic what you've just read out, the statements. I mean,
well, he doesn't stop there, does he? He says, to fight for major trophies such as the Premier League or the Champions League, you need more. Signing young players only might complicate achieving those goals. You need to find balance between both worlds.
The other thing recently as well with him, and he was great last season, the other thing with him is that he's not been playing every game. And it's no coincidence. You then get a bit of angst. He's probably manoeuvring a way out. Feels a bit like that to me, because you become more carefree with your words when you don't care about the consequences. If you're really happy and playing every week and everything's going well, you don't talk like this. You don't talk like this. So I would be... Reading that makes me think he'll probably be gone.
So you think this is him digging his own escape route? He goes on, Simon, he talks about Enzo Maresca's sacking.
Yeah, this is strange as well.
He says, with Maresca in charge, we were more stable because we worked together for 18 months. In our last months with Maresca, we played almost by heart. The moment Maresca left, it had a big impact on us. These are decisions taken by the club. If you asked me, I would not have made this decision.
That's right, because you're a player and you have no knowledge of what it takes to run a football club. You're not a manager, you're not an owner. And that's why it makes very little sense to ask him these sort of questions, because he doesn't know really what he's talking about. Of course, he can talk about it from the perspective. The interesting thing about how stable it was when Maresca was in, from my understanding, it was batting his eyes repeatedly and endlessly at the opportunity that might await him at Man City, and believing that Man City were coming in for him, whilst having tantrums about how he manages the players left, right and centre. And I may be biased, maybe Egg Barley telling me these sort of things probably gives me a viewpoint that's slightly different. But I think the perception that the players have, if they enjoyed a good relationship, there's nothing wrong with them saying they had a good relationship with the manager.
Right.
And the manager was fired for a ridiculous outburst, not really for the direction that the team was going in. And perhaps the worst thing that could have ever happened to that manager was winning the World Club Championship, because maybe he got an extra level of hubris.
Yeah.
Created a whole set of outcomes that perhaps made him more difficult to manage. But when I listen to Cucurella about some of the things he says, yes, he's got a view, and Danny may well be right. But the modern day footballer, and I don't want to say it because it makes me sound a bit antiquated and a bit draconian.
But you're going to anyway.
But I'm going to anyway. Right? Stay in your bleeding lane.
Exactly. I find it baffling
because you would be so.
He's got an opinion.
As an owner, I've got an opinion. So I'll go out in the field. I'll go out as an owner and say that bleeding Cucurella is a waste of time. I wish I'd never signed him. But it's an opinion, and people would be horrified by it. They'd be like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Is he not showing he's a winner?
Well, his only real version of winning was obviously with Spain and being surrounded by a group of elite players. Some of them very, very young, by the way, very young players. Like
right.
When they won the European Championships last year, or year before last. Domestically, he's not a winner, is he? What's he won domestically?
So what's he doing here? Is he playing to the gallows?
Too much to say for himself, like he does on the field.
Yeah, if you read this and all of it again, a lot of it makes sense. It's actually true. The signing, the balance between senior players and young players isn't there. That's fair.
observation.
So it's not disrespectful. He's on the money.
It's
with what he's
disrespectful because he's going into too much detail about it and questioning people above him who pay his wages. So you can be
You've
more.
listened to him too much.
You
haven't
can be more generic with it. You know, for example, if you're talking about Maresca, you could say, "Look, it's not ideal. Manager change in the middle of the season with big fixture congestion. We can't work on new things as much. It's difficult. It's going to cause problems. No problem."
Or you can qualify it by saying, in the here and now, by buying young players, it makes it very difficult to give people what they want, which is instantaneous gratification. But the club's vision of creating a team out of buying young players and building them into a unit,
it's a good one.
Could have fruition.
But you know what?
That's a reasonable way of approaching it.
What he has said is blunt, is honest, and it's understandable. Mark, what do you think of Maresca's sacking? Well, with Maresca in charge, we were more stable. I would not have made this decision. The instability around the club comes from this, in a nutshell.
The point is, although that might be true, if I'm Liam Rossini reading that,
wouldn't like that.
And is it a coincidence that Cucurella's not been starting every game under him?
But the idea
it stinks of someone saying, "I've had enough," right? So I'll speak my mind.
Yeah.
And I'll make it sound like I care, like or whatever.
Do you think he's the only person in the dressing room that thinks like this?
No.
But what is honesty, Jim? Again, I make the point, and I know I always put my foot and do the hokey cokey in the owner camp, right? But if I'm sat there giving my version of honesty, there'd be outrage. If I went out and spoke about players and managers the way I really felt at times, what do you think the football fraternity, football mafia, football orthodoxy would be suggesting? They wouldn't be saying, "Well, he's honest. He's got a right to an opinion." They'd be saying, "That's outrageous." So why is it that a player's version of an opinion is subsequently an epiphany that we should all praise? You're 26 years of age, you can't find your ass with both hands in a funnel. So what would you know about running a football club and why you would have employed him why would you have fired him?
Do you know what he said? Is he right?
Some of his points are very valid.
Well, there you go.
But
and when you're sounding off, you think you're right, and that's why you.
Simon, he knows the fans will agree with some of this.
But I don't think I'm right about a player. And I was the one that watched Gerard Bowen 4 years ago when he was at Hull and went, "Oh, he's crap," and look what he's done on. Right, so I would never superimpose my knowledge over individual decisions. You do not know if you were the owner of that football club and Maresca did his little outburst, right? You, in the position of owner of the football club, would have gone, "Well, that's fine, carry on then. If you can say some worse, say some more," right? You wouldn't have done, you idiot. So if you're in a position of influence,
my problem
you
is,
wouldn't have done.
My problem
you would
is,
have done exactly what the owners did.
My problem is with this. My problem is with Cucurella doing it.
Although he resigned, by the way.
My problem with Cucurella doing it is that I always go back to where my head was when I was at Liverpool, and there was a feeling of it's an honour to be here. I'll do as I'm told by whatever, and I'll do it willingly. And if I'm out of the team, I'll go and see a manager and have a chat with her. I'll never, ever go to the press and say this, or this. Just never came to my head because the respect was there. There was players there who'd guide you on that stuff. There was a mentality that you just engaged with.
It's a new culture being created by people like him that want people to be able to...
What have I got to do with it?
The sense of entitlement that players have.
That's it.
The sense of entitlement is created. Young players now have arrived before the journey's even begun.
This is self-indulgent.
And that's
maybe he's just not buying into it, and he seemingly isn't the only one.
Get out then.
And he's speaking out.
Go and see the manager. Have a word
and he's
with
being
him.
honest about it.
Go and see the owner and say, "Why the hell did you get rid of the manager?"
Maybe he's not buying into the project.
But they didn't get rid of the... See, if you're abreast of the facts, right, and you're speaking from a really balanced point of view, and you can encompass all the knowledge that's in front of you and give a rounded opinion, Maresca resigned. He resigned. So get across your facts, son. If it was me, what you've done? Pleading to not resign? Please don't resign. When someone resigns, you let them go.
Please don't resign, because some of the players might be upset.
Yeah.
I think I just think if he's playing every week,
upset is his barber.
If he's playing every week, yes, definitely. If he's playing every week,
well, he's only been bench. I think he's only been on the bench 3 times. But what he is saying, Danny, is you know the policy. You might want to have a look at the club's policy a bit more closely. I understand this is part of the club's policy about signing younger players, and they want to take this direction. But for all of us who are still here and want to win big things, moments like this makes you feel discouraged, like the exit at the hands of PSG. So in other words, to win a major trophy, you're going to need more. You're
going to have to change your whole philosophy for me and the lads.
But is he wrong?
No, he's right, but what he's doing.
Well, there you go.
He's right, but it's not his job to say it, and he's
So if he's right, why shouldn't he say
he's
it?
manufacturing a way out.
But let's assume that there's an argument that suggests that there needs more balance, right? Because there's not enough senior players, but they've got lots of senior players, of which he's one, right? So this idea that the balance is wrong. Well, how about the senior players? Because they always refer back to John Terry and Ashley Cole and Frank Lampard.
Yeah,
and the leaders that were in the dressing room, right?
Yeah.
There was young players in that dressing room as well. Now, in this dressing room, you've got senior players.
Not many.
Well, you've got a few. They're not all kids.
No,
They've got 4 or 5 of them. You've got Reece James, you've got Fernandes, you've got Cucurella.
Fernandes is about 23, 24.
No, he's not.
24.
He's 24, 25, 26, isn't he?
So you know what emerges from this, though?
No,
what emerges from this is that some senior players, him, Cucurella is one of them, maybe not buying into the project, and there's more than a bit of fan unrest right now. What's more worrying for the Chelsea ownership?
Well,
surely the player side of it.
The most worrying thing for them is just constantly losing games at the moment and not getting into Champions League. That's going to be a huge blow for them, even though they've come out and put that to bed. Because the problem is, if they don't get in the Champions League, it means from now to the end of the season they're going to keep getting average results, and the fans are going to become a problem. I think ultimately the fans are more of a problem than the players.
Really? Because this leading player is suggesting maybe this policy is a problem.
They can get rid of him.
Can't get rid of the fans.
Right. Okay. The amazing line that's come out of that discussion, Danny, was Simon saying, if I really spoke my mind, maybe every day you do just that. I'm going to put it out there to Chelsea fans. Is this a bit of disrespect coming from Mark Cucurella? What he's saying here, that Maresca, albeit not getting sacked but quitting, it was unfortunate, and as a result of that, it took us in a different direction. And also, this policy of signing young players, maybe that's not so good if we want to win something big. Is he being honest? Is he being outspoken? Or has he crossed the line? Are you with him in that? Because we know a whole bunch of Chelsea fans are not happy, to say the least. 03717 22 3344.
Derek Chisora is retiring after this weekend, so maybe Del Boy can come in and do a better job than all these other guys.
Maybe.
I've also spoken to him. He's going to come in and walk up and down Simon's back this morning to try and sort that out.
Jason Schiffman, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Simon. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. Well, I wish you back better anyway.
Thank you, mate.
My view is that I think that we need to bring a manager in that's going to sign a contract so the players believe that manager is going to be there next season. I don't think it's a great look when you sign these managers up and they're only signed temporarily, because then all of a sudden the players don't seem to have the same respect for that manager, because they're thinking, well, he's not going to be here in a few weeks. Do I think that this guy can come in and do a job? I certainly hope so. I think the fans are behind the players at the moment. I think I saw an amazing atmosphere, even though we lost 3-0. And I just think this is still the team that got 4 points out of City this season. So the players in that squad that are capable of winning games, but we do need a manager that's capable of getting the best out of them.
Yeah, I mean you're on your final chance, are you not, Jason? It's critical now.
Listen, it's almost not in our hands, because if West Ham get that win, then all of a sudden we're in this position where we're looking.
Jason, just
around us.
Just a quick one here. So there's an element of concern about Zerbi. Do you share that concern? And who would you go for in this situation? Everyone's talking about maybe Glenn Hoddle or Tim Sherwood.
The reason a lot of fans that call up this show get the hump when they hear about Thomas Frank
Wednesday lunchtime, and the three of us are about to be joined by a whole horde of Chelsea supporters who are calling in this lunchtime, because we have been talking in the last 15 minutes, as only Simon, Danny and myself can do, about an issue that we think has emerged during this international break that may or may not lead a certain Chelsea player into a bit of hot water. Mark Cucurella has been speaking out about the sacking of Enzo Maresca and the approach of the Chelsea ownership, the approach to go younger players. And Cucurella, for one, is throwing the odd question mark in front of those aspects of the club's policy at the moment. On that, questioning the vision of an ownership, has Cucurella shown the height of disrespect, or is he actually speaking the truth? Where do you stand on this one? 03717 223344. Ian, big Chelsea fan, what do you think? Is Cucurella doing something that you think, yeah, he's right, or maybe he's crossing a line? What do you think?
Hi guys.
Hi Ian.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think it depends on what they told him when he joined the club. You know, what was his contract about? Did they say to him, like, you know, for the next 5 years, we don't want to win anything. We're just going to sign young kids and we're going to build the team up like that. Are you interested? Because if they didn't and they've signed him and promised him the world and now they change the goalposts, then I think he's right to say it. You know, and for the owner to come out and say recently they only bought him because Man City wanted him, I mean, what kind of, confidence does that give you in the people that are, running and managing the club at the moment? I think it's a bit poor, to be honest. So,
Ian's right, Simon. I think Todd Bowley did say that.
I think what he actually said was, with all due respect to the caller's observation, was that if he was good enough for Man City, he almost used that as a precursor to the scouting framework that Chelsea would have deployed, which is the fact that one of our biggest rivals wanted him was a rubber stamping of our thinking that we'd want him too. I think that's what he was actually implying. Whether he was clumsy in his words, I don't think he just bought him because Man City bought him. I think they bought him because Man City were in for him, and it was a good indicator. In the same way that Chelsea bought Levy, that Liverpool wanted to buy him.
Well, Chelsea fan Harry, what do you think about what Cucurella is saying? Is he being honest? Is he being truthful? Should he be applauded? Hi, Harry. Good afternoon. Oh, we've lost Harry, but we haven't lost Jimmy. Jimmy, Chelsea fan, good afternoon to you. Same question. Is Cucurella just being honest?
Afternoon, lad. He's 100% being honest, and he is speaking from every Chelsea fan that spends their hard-earned money going there every week in, week out, paying silly prices to see the way the team's playing at the minute. And why shouldn't he speak how he feels? All right, yeah, he's got a contract, and yes, he's earning silly money, and we all get that. But you're talking about, Simon said a minute ago, he shouldn't say anything because he doesn't know what it takes to run a club. The people that have bought Chelsea don't know what it takes to run a club.
I think
have a Scooby.
Yeah, I think he does make some good points. I said that, and I thought the fans would agree. The thing is, it's not for him to do that, because he's causing a problem for himself first and foremost, and he's also, with the Maresca stuff, a little bit belittling Liam, which is a problem. So he's creating more problems than solutions, and I think as a player, that's not your job. Now, you're right. Some of his points are absolutely bang on, and the question you have to ask is, why is he bringing them up? Is it because he cares so much and he wants to see an improvement? If he does care that much, then maybe as a senior player in the group with a couple of others, go and see the manager of the hierarchy and have that conversation.
Well, Jimmy, is he right about Maresca's departure? The instability around the club comes from this in a nutshell. Is he right?
100%. When you go to Chelsea week in, week out, no Chelsea fan wanted Maresca gone.
But he resigned.
No, he resigned because he was pushed to resign. He didn't want.
No, he went out. He went out and did a ridiculous outburst and got smacked. Yeah.
Well, he had an outburst for a reason. Once again, the truth was in the pudding.
Well, your version of it, and your version is it because at this moment in time, and you may have every justification, you could be paid £100,000 a week by these owners at Chelsea, and you still wouldn't like them. So the bottom line is you've got your own bias about Chelsea and their ownership model because you think they're doing things in the wrong direction. But to suggest that Maresca was right to do what he did, his outburst was absurd. And he didn't even have the courage to follow through on his outburst by actually detailing what he was talking about. He just threw it out there because he was having a tantrum, which, by the way, I understood he regularly did in different spaces. And if you think that's a mature manager, then that's up to you. But he resigned. So whether he was pushed because he behaved badly in a press conference, and whether you think people should just say what they want, if you think that's the right way to run a business or run a football club or create a spirit inside a football club where people can just say what they want, when they want, how they want, then I think you're misguided.
But people might suggest, and Jimmy might be one of them, that you're biased in another way towards the ownership.
No, I'm balancing it. I don't think.
I see.
No, I'm balancing it because.
Come in this, Jimmy.
I don't think they've been successful.
Why
is it not balanced then? Because I don't think Chelsea have been successful.
You sit down to have fancy dinners with Ed Bowley and all that. Let's be honest.
No, it was a fancy drink actually, not a dinner. It wasn't that generous.
Well, I'm not surprised.
And it wasn't that fancy actually, quite frankly.
Go on, Jimmy. Don't be derailed.
If he didn't have the fight, if Maresca didn't have that fight, didn't have that passion to stand up and tell the owners what he wanted. Now, let's be honest, yeah? Chelsea knew what they needed. They needed a top-class goalkeeper. They needed a top-class centre-back. Did they get either? They went in for the French #1 goalkeeper, right? And because it was 6 million more than they wanted to spend, and because he was 28, yes, they decided not to get him.
But would
you've got Sanchez in goal? That how he's a #1, I don't know.
All right, well, Jimmy, we won't go through the team, but what we will do is finish with Donazzi, who's another Chelsea fan. Good afternoon to you. Where do you stand in Cucurella's comments?
Good afternoon, Jim. Good afternoon, Simon. And good afternoon, Dan. I love your show. Well, good. There's something I need to point. 3 points I need to say that Cucurella is a hypocrite on this statement. Number one, when Cucurella started his career, he was a young player in Getafe from La Masia, Barcelona to Getafe. He was not playing he was playing good, but not just good. Now, Barcelona, Spain did not call him. They only called him during COVID to play against Lithuania. Then he left Getafe to Brighton. He was young. Spain nationality never called him. They didn't recognize him again. Now, when he left Brighton at 25 to Chelsea, he was a young player. Now, Chelsea gave exactly the project Chelsea wanted. Buy talent, develop talent, make talent become top player. That is exactly what happened to Cucurella in Chelsea. Now, because they're a top player, Spain nationality now called him back to start playing because he has been developed and is a good player. That's number one. Number two, he said after Maresca left, it has impacted them. Since September, Marc Cucurella's form has gone down. So who was the coach? Maresca. September, October, November, December, and January, Cucurella's form has gone down. Was it Liam Rossini that caused that? Now, he said Maresca left, it has impacted all the players, we cannot play again. In all the games Maresca lost, Cucurella played badly in those games. So why is he now calling out the board for buying young players? The Barcelona he wants to go, they are all full of young talents. They are playing very well. But because maybe they just increased James' contract and now say, I want to leave now, because he cannot say that in Barcelona. If Chelsea said this is the project we want to do, develop talent, make them become world class, and win something with them.
Right.
Why are you becoming hypocrisy about it?
So I think you think, Donazzi, that Cucurella has been a bit too outspoken for his own good here.
Yes, because he's a graduate of this project. They bought him as when he was 25 years. He was just average. He wasn't top class.
Yeah. Donazzi, I can tell you, Simon's sitting here nodding in agreement.
He's right.
He's right.
It's the alternate side of the argument, and it won't suit the people that have decided the fate of the Chelsea ownership, and they have lots of resonance in what they're saying. But this caller is right. He's giving you statistical, unbiased information about what Cucurella's points are, and he's absolutely right. And I hadn't thought of that. They bought Cucurella as a young player. So the young player project was part of the fact that, yeah, and by the way, he stank the place out for the first season.
Yeah, he did.
Donazzi, you came to Simon's rescue there. It's 12:30. We're live in talkSPORT with Selco where the trade goes. Back on Thursday, Simon and Willie exchanged a fair bit of banter in the boxing hour on that day going into the fight.
I said, I think you're going to get beat, is what I said, Willie.
Is that what you said?
I did, yeah. I did. I'm happy to eat crow.
Simon, have you ever boxed a day in your life?
No, I haven't, no.
You should have no comment on boxing whatsoever. You should leave it to the boxers.
We will see.
Because you've never had a fight in your life.
We will see. And when you have an opinion on something in life that you've never done, we can have a conversation about that as well.
The only thing you can box, Simon, listen to me. The only thing you can box is box in Tesco's shopping centre. Well, that's what you can box.
Willie, if you lose that fight, you'll probably be working in there.
You shouldn't give any... Hey, but I've got plenty.
Good.
I don't need to
well,
go
let's
anywhere.
see you win.
I don't do this for the money. I do it for peace.
Good, fantastic, good. So when we see on Monday, if you've won, you'll be able to say all this. But don't lose, Willie, now. Don't lose. Whatever you do, don't lose.
But Simon, if you've never boxed a day in your life, and you've never felt a punch in your face, you should have no comment to boxing.
I'm not allowed an opinion.
In your life.
I'm not allowed an opinion.
Forget about this.
I'm not
You're
allowed
not
an opinion.
An opinion because you've never boxed.
Okay.
You don't know.
All right. Well, hopefully my opinion will mean nothing.
You should keep to the football.
But if I'm wrong, if I'm right, Willie, you are going to eat some crow, buddy.
Well, he didn't need to eat anything because the scores were wide, 99, 91, 98, 92, 98, 92. So, Willie, you got out that shift at Tesco on Sunday. Well done. Good morning.
Definitely. I got out of it nice and clear. Thank God I don't need to work in Tesco's no more. And we're on to the next one.
Tuchel says it's normal to rely on big players like Harry Kane. He was rested as England lost to Japan, with Foden, Rodgers and Palmer all starting. Tuchel admits England were too narrow.
We tried later with Dom Solanke in there, and then we had Harry Maguire and Dan Burn for the set pieces, for the crosses, for more crosses. We had more width and more mobility on the side. We got a bit better.
Tuchel's now overseen England's first defeats to Asian and African opposition. Now, Andy Robertson's not sure why some fans booed Scotland again last night after their 1-0 friendly defeat to the Ivory Coast. Robertson says for him, it wasn't a booing performance. Roberto De Zerbi starts life at Spurs with some bad news. Pape Sarr's joined their long injury list. But here's some optimism for the relegation scrap. Adam Lallana calls De Zerbi one of the most inspirational people there is.
After 5 minutes of him speaking in our first meeting when he joined Brighton, I was on board. I was following him, and I have no doubt that he'll be able to emulate that at Spurs.
And Tiger Woods is stepping away from golf to recover. He's pleaded not guilty to driving under the influence after Friday's car crash in Florida. There's more at talksport.com.
Big fight build-up on talkSPORT with DAZN. Watch Derek Chisora versus Deontay Wilder this Saturday, only on DAZN. Buy now at DAZN.com.
Well, that's right. This Saturday, an icon will fall as Derek Chisora collides with the bronze bomber, Deontay Wilder. We're going to take a look ahead to this fight right now with DAZN. And let me tell you, Derek Chisora has been in conversation with talkSPORT's Gareth A. Davis. And with this fight being his final fight, retirement then seemingly beckons afterwards. So Gareth said to Derek, "Oh, why now?"
You just know. In life, when your relationship is running out of time, you try to fight for it, but it's done. You as a man, you just know.
Why is it the right fight with Deontay, the last one? Is it because you're both at 50, you're both iconic figures?
Because he's an American. I only boxed 2 Americans in my life. Malik Scott, Gerald Washington, and Deontay Wilder now. And he's a big puncher, and he's never boxed in London. So why not?
You're going to knock him out?
I want to knock him out, but Deontay's a stubborn man. It's very stubborn. You can hit him with anything, but you're going to keep getting up, so we'll see.
Do you think you might beat up Simon Jordan this week as well on the way there or not?
No, Deontay is just a guy who's got so much money, yeah, and who's just upset with the world. I don't get it. You got all this money, you're happy, your kids are beautiful, but he's just upset with the world. He thinks the world has done him something wrong. But I'm just trying to figure out what's the world done something wrong to him. So, and I think Tyson Fury is in PTSD.
I hope you don't disappear too far. I hope you stay in the sport after this Saturday night.
You'd be very surprised.
Without fighting, but we'd still love to have you around all the time.
Thank you, I'll be around, don't worry, man.
You're our big bro friend.
Yeah, because they don't want to give me the microphone on any TV because I can say the honest truth, bro. If I'm on a microphone and someone is fighting, I'm like, I don't know why we're paying to watch this guy because this guy's putting the crowd to sleep. But it is what it is.
Will there be a push and a pull with you and Deontay, or will it be total respect till the bell rings?
Mate, it's all total respect, bro. Yeah. There's nothing, this and this, not. It's all just children respect, bro.
We heard a sycophantic exchange earlier between Vinay Venkatesham and Daniel Levy. But that's right up there with that, isn't it?
Listen, that's Gareth's style, isn't it? I mean, one person would want to stay around longer of the two, have Derek Chisora and Gareth A. Davis is Derek Chisora, right? But I thought Derek was quite good in that interview, to be honest with you, talking about Deontay Wilder's attitude and disposition. I've been on
He's an angry man, yeah.
Yeah, he thinks the world owes him something, and he's been done down on it. And he likes to play it through a racial prism, but ultimately lost to Tyson Fury because he lost, and not because Tyson Fury was white, which is what he was trying to portray the circumstances to be. Look, I mean, it's a fight. I mean, Derek, one thing you're going to get with Derek Chisora is honesty and integrity in the ring. He will come to fight. Are they way past their best? Has Deontay Wilder thrown a meaningful punch in his last 2 or 3 fights? Not really.
The Joseph Parker fight was just so one-way.
No, the Zhili Zhang was even worse.
Yeah,
that was even worse. I mean, look,
I was right there for that.
He was a superstar. at one point. I mean, I remember missing him in the studio 3 or 4 years ago. I think you had him in there, and he was in his pomp.
Oh yes,
and he was charisma personified. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's a shadow of himself. Maybe that's that ayahuasca that he's gone and taken to rid himself of his ego. I didn't see much of that in the studio. Look, the fight itself is being billed as two icons. Derek has managed to achieve a wonderful thing, which is that people really like him and really value him. And Derek, we've had our ups and downs in the past. When I said I didn't want to see him fight Dillian White for the third time, and when I asked him why, I said because he gets beat by everybody that's of a world-class level. We had that debate. But you've got to admire Derek Chisora, because irrespective of what you think his capabilities are, and the fact that he's never scaled the real heights, he puts a fight on every single time, and he fights everybody that's put in front of him. He was the one that, when Usyk came into this division, that arguably has given Usyk his hardest fight.
Well, Usyk told you and I that in this very building.
And he's unapologetically himself always, isn't he?
Yeah, he's also Derek. I mean, Derek can be a pest and say silly things and create mayhem, and is often always late everywhere he goes. But he's a very decent man. He's a bit of a teddy bear rather than this sort of figure that you see once upon a time throwing tables at David Hay and getting involved in fights.
Yeah, I know where you're going with where Wilder is now, but they are both iconic names for what they've achieved in their industry, are they not?
Well, yeah, I mean, to a point, right? Because Wilder came with such a massive reputation, but the fighters that he fought, when you look at it, there wasn't this roster of fight. I mean, when you talk about who Fury's fought and gotten beaten by now, but if you talk about Usyk's beaten everybody.
Why?
Deontay Wilder didn't fight any of the main heavyweights. He fought a bunch of guys, whether it was Stavern or other people, or Ortiz, that were at the back end of their careers, and he demolished them. And he got this huge reputation of being the bronze bomber that knocks everybody out with this 97% knockout record until he ran up against an elite heavyweight. And when he ran up against elite heavyweights, he got beat, and he got beat 3 times. And it wasn't because Tyson Fury had, anvils in his gloves or the ridiculous assertions that he made. It's because Tyson Fury was better than him. So whether you think that's iconic, an icon to me is somebody that eclipses things that other people can do.
Can't do.
Other people can't do, eclipse things that other people do, either which way. They still work.
Is it not names that transcend? Is that not what a true icon is?
Is it, though?
To the casual base that follows.
But if you have an icon, it's because they've scaled the heights, and they are beyond reproach, and they've achieved levels that are beyond the remit of what most people think people to be able to achieve. Now, you could say by him being the WBC champion of the world, he achieved that. But who did he beat to get to that position? And when he ran up against Tyson Fury, he couldn't beat him. And who's he beaten since then? Robert Helenius, with respect.
Yeah. Derek makes a good point about Wilder. Why did they still fight? I mean, Wilder has a lot of money. He's a very wealthy guy. It was once put to Evander Holyfield, why on earth do you still fight at this ridiculous age you've got to, and you still want to fight? You've got real estate all over the US. Well, you've got enough money you could air condition hell.
Well, it's like as football, you try and play as long as you can because you love it. It's part of it.
But this is different, Dan. When you get punched in the face.
But you talked about it earlier. Why does Warren Buffett go and still him? What is he, in his 80s? You said. He's still. Why would you do that? Why is Simon sat in here with you every day?
It's a question I ask myself on a very regular basis, Danny.
More.
Yeah,
I mean, it'll be fascinating to see if Derek actually stays true to his word, because there is a possibility.
And quit?
Yeah, I mean,
retire.
If they can engineer, and I don't see why they would, right? Because Wilder's can't be ranked up there. On reputation, but on current form, Wilder is not a gatekeeper for a world title. Shouldn't be, should he? Really? So, but if they are able to orchestrate, which I doubt they are, but if they were able to orchestrate Derek with a world title shot, why? I know that he's got this promise and he's been told he's under manners at home and he's going to do as he's told. But the reality is, if you've got a world title shot, you've had to fight Vitaly Klitschko for a world title.
Yeah.
And you've had to fight Tyson Fury for a world title, 2 of the elite heavyweights of the last 20 years. If someone can orchestrate an opportunity for you to fight a lesser heavyweight that you can win a world title at, it's going to have to be, that's maybe. But who would perhaps turn that down? We'll see. I mean, it'd be fascinating to see if Derek is his last dance.
Oh, when they talk about retirement, you immediately think...
but he said it about 27 times.
You don't believe it. Okay, we'll look to head to Chisora Wilder with DAZN. Don't forget, you can watch it live on Saturday, only on DAZN. Buy now at DAZN.com.
Big fight build-up on talkSPORT with DAZN. Watch Derek Chisora versus Deontay Wilder this Saturday, only on DAZN. Buy now at DAZN.com.
wanted to talk about Marc Cucurella, actually,
Yes.
because twice in 2 days he's hit the headlines. He was talking about saying that it would be so difficult to turn down Barcelona if they called, but he's now criticised the sacking of former manager Enzo Maresca and the club's transfer policy. On the sacking, he said, the moment Enzo Maresca left, it had a big impact on us. If you asked me, I would not have made this decision. Not positive if you're Liam Rosenior reading that, is it?
I don't know what's going on at Chelsea, my former club.
There's a few players now, isn't there? Cole Palmer's been linked to a move. We've got Cucurella, obviously Enzo Fernandez with Real Madrid.
Well, let's get it right, okay? And Ali, jump in on this. You've been a manager. One of your Rangers players, you know, is quite vocal about he'd love a move and the previous manager was better than you. How are you going to react to that?
Oh, he's getting the curly finger. Here, come here, you. Office. Oh, he's getting the curly finger. I need a word with you. Sit down there. It's got to.
Wouldn't do it, would you?
No. I think it's disrespectful.
Absolutely.
Right. I think it's disrespectful. I really do. I mean, you don't want the manager coming out and saying, right, I'm going to get rid of him straight away when I come in. That you can't have it that way either. There has to be a mutual respect, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how the questions came about. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Particularly in international.
Of course.
The talkSPORT 20k giveaway.
What a way to finish the show today. One lucky listener has a big chance to bag 20 grand tax free. Here's how you can do it. Your chance to win, text WIN to 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate. The number to call is 0343 418 7260. The lines close on the 9th of April at 4 o'clock. You'll need to answer your phone if it rings. 18 plus UK residents only. It's a network promotion. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com. Your chance to win 20 grand. Text WIN to 83338 right now. We're in the home straight today with Simon and Danny. An interesting little debate has emerged in the championship, in the EFL. The EFL has confirmed at least one championship club has raised concerns over a potential conflict of interest regarding Northern Ireland and Blackburn Rovers boss Michael O'Neill. O'Neill, as we know, has been job sharing domestically and internationally, but it's created a bit of a storm amongst some of the other EFL clubs because Blackburn are in a relegation battle and a number of players in O'Neill's Northern Ireland squad play for teams battling against Blackburn to remain in the division. Oxford had 4 of them in O'Neill's squad, with 2, Brown and Donnelly, named in Northern Ireland's starting 11 in Cardiff. The Portsmouth defender Terry Devlin and West Brom midfielder Isaac Price, whose teams are also in a dogfight with Blackburn, they also started. So all of a sudden, one or two of the other clubs are saying, well, hang on, what are you doing? Are you fielding them knowing that when they go back to their clubs in somewhat maybe a state of fatigue, then it gives you, Blackburn Rovers, an element of advantage? This was Michael O'Neill.
If I'm honest, I'm a little bit disappointed. You know, these clubs, they ask for references on players, they ask for character references, level of performance from us and our staff. when they want to sign these players. Now suddenly they were international players when they signed them. Now suddenly it becomes a bit of an issue that they're international players. If you look at the players in question, you know, Isaac played 45 minutes tonight, Kieran played 60, Jamie played 60, and young Jamie McDonald didn't play at all. Terry played a little bit more, but he didn't finish both games. I'll always try to protect the players. I don't want the players coming here and it affecting their club situation. So it was a little bit disappointed with that, because I didn't get a phone call from any of the managers. I didn't get a phone call from anyone from their respective clubs. So they felt that whatever they decided to do, or what avenue they took to raise their concerns, it's disappointing given that I've managed over 100 international games and I've always put the players first.
Well said, Michael. I mean, what have we got here, Simon? Have we got a little club country integrity debate going on?
I've told you what happened in those EFL meetings. These are the sort of drivel that I had to listen to. I mean, look, he doesn't really answer the question that's being put to him. He does try to get to it. He talks about giving references. That's got nothing to do with the point they're making. The point they're making is that they don't want their players being exhausted or injured and subsequently compromising the relegation battle against a team that he's managing, you know, alongside managing Northern Ireland. So his point about giving references and so on and so forth has no real relevance. I think if he's allowed to do the job that he's doing, and the question could be, should the EFL, whatever you haven't got is a reason why you should complain about it. I mean, they may have some relevance. I don't. He doesn't strike me as a manager that has a particular breach of integrity. The players themselves are going to play for their country.
Yeah.
And they know what their responsibilities are and what they should and shouldn't do to their domestic football clubs. And I just think it's a load of noise that you only ever get in the EFL because they're so small-minded.
It does seem quite a lot about not a lot, Danny.
Yeah, and he explained it pretty well. One of them played 45 and one of them played 60 and two of them didn't. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, if you want a guy who's got integrity and does things the right way, you know anything about him, he's a top guy. Is somebody alluding to the fact that he would give up a Northern Ireland game and try and lose a game and play his worst players? They've got a draw in Wales. It's like, it's nothing. I mean,
yeah, mind you, it falls into the category of another pointless friendly.
They're saying
that we were talking about earlier.
Saying that he picks these players so they can be deliberately exhausted.
No, when they can play for their clubs. So, play them all for 90.
Yeah. Yeah,
no
exactly. Danny, it won't have gone unnoticed with you that one of the men you hugely admire in the game is back in football at the tender age of 78. Bristol City appointed Roy Hodgson as manager for the final 7 games of the season after sacking Gerard Struber. This was Roy.
You don't work at top level football at my age, really, not very often. So I'd come to terms with that, quite well. But then something like this happens, and you realise that, well, in fact, there's a lot I do miss. I hope to get some enjoyment from being here, to re-energise myself a little bit by being back on the grass and being back with players, something which has always been what I've wanted to do, because I must say that I didn't come into football to do press conferences. I came into football to do work with players, and I made it clear to him today that, I hope we're going to enjoy our time working together. But I also, I think, made it fairly clear early on that, unfortunately, the only way we're going to get any enjoyment is if we become better at what we're doing and win matches. So I think I've made that fairly clear as well. I'm not here just for a ride. I'm here because I hope that I'll be able to do what Charlie and the board have brought me in to do.
Good on him, Danny. What did you think when you first heard it?
Pleased for him. A little last hurrah, if you like, just a few weeks, or what is it, a month, 6 weeks, whatever it is, and imparting some knowledge
7
and
games.
wisdom. Yeah, I think there's only so much you can do in that, but kind of a little bit of reward for all his years of hard work. A little he probably never expected it. He's happy. I think knowing him the way he coaches and knowing the way he is in terms of his communication with players, there'll be some players petty.
It's quite unfair.
I think it will be. I would go as far as to say some of those players will learn more in those 6 weeks than they probably have in the last 6 months.
Right. Okay. All right. Roy, if you're listening, we wish you well. His first match is an away trip to Charlton, who Roy Hodgson is yet to face in his career. How about that for a fun fact? Thank you so much for listening today. I enjoyed meeting Jim Rodwell of Charlton the other night at the Football Beyond Borders dinner, Danny.
Oh, I bet that was fun.
I was boring Simon. It was great fun. It was a great night with Fabian Hürzeler, Paul Barber, and Oliver Glasner. Terrific evening. Danny, we thank you. Thank you so much. As for you, cheeky boy, I'll see you tomorrow at 10. Indeed. Bad back and all. It's 1 o'clock.
But we know the bulk of his squad, don't we? If you sat down...
Well, you got the obvious ones, right?
Yes.
Of course, right? The main 11, you'd probably say almost picks itself. But then, you know, you got to take 26. And you are going to need these players.
I don't think Harry Maguire's done himself any harm over the last 2 games, actually.
No, the number 10 position for me is scary fault.
That is not... Well...
Has Cole Palmer done enough in this England, in the last 2 camps, to warrant being on the plane?
This is what annoys me about you. Why the last... It's not just these last 2 games. It's the last year.
Well, he ain't played.
So for England, I'm talking about.
Yeah, but he's hardly played for Chelsea.
The last year, that's what Thomas Tuchel will look at. Not just Cole Palmer, all of them. It's not just the last 2 games. If you take the last 2 games...
Yeah, but Cole Palmer needed to turn up for England this 2 camps and stake his claim.
Yeah, and
he hasn't.
Well, he hasn't done enough. None of them have. I mean, there are 1 or 2 players you look at and think... I mean, I think, in all honesty, as I mentioned, Harry Maguire, I don't think's done himself any harm. I think Garner's done himself any harm.
Are we going to go to a World Cup with Harry Maguire and Jordan Henderson?
We might do, yeah.